competition on the field and maybe up here in the press box as well.
For sure, competition, but we're both Aggies. So
yeah, that's true. We do have that in common.
We tie it back together.
But again, it's the Jags taking on the Skeeters tonight here at Memorial Stadium. A beautiful night for football. Again, Horn really, they're 0-3, Phil, but it doesn't necessarily tell the full story. And we'll kind of talk about that throughout the broadcast tonight. Much better team than what 0-3 indicates, and very well could, be 2-1, 3-0.
Yeah. That non-district schedule for them is tough. Every year they always kind of load it up on the front end. This is a sneaky good team, regardless of their record.
Yeah, and the Mesquite High School obviously looking to bounce back, and so they're at 1-3 right now, looking to bounce back after that loss to DeSoto. The national anthem's getting ready to play. We're going to step aside for a moment. Mesquite ISD football will continue after this.
College softball players Mallory Holton and Liz Wallace know winning.
Okay, now they're actually on the field.
I think we got, horns.
Whether you win or lose on the field, if you did the right thing, then you did win.
And they showed us the right thing is sportsmanship.
Are they singing?
Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
He wanted to be known for doing
You can barely hear him.
Yeah.
His best made him Major League Baseball's most valuable player.
Is that better?
He played in 6 World Series
Yes,
and was
thanks.
elected to the Hall of Fame. Although an honest man, he was best at stealing home. But the best quality of Jackie Robinson's life was his character. So here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Thanks for passing it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
What if the second deadliest cancer in men and women could be prevented? Would you try to avoid the pain? And what if you could protect yourself without leaving your home? Colorectal cancer is highly preventable. Screening is important, safe, and most people have options. Ask your doctor which screening test is right for you. Learn more from the Colorectal Cancer Alliance at getscreened.org.
We're back.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Matt Kane alongside Phil Elia. The national anthem has just concluded. Horn Jag Choir doing a really nice job, as well as the JROTC program out there at midfield. And again, it's homecoming night for the Jaguars, and so we have a really good crowd that has come out tonight to support the Jags. Lots of good energy in this stadium, Phil. You can already, we still have couple of seconds before kickoff gets started, but we saw a little bit of, friendly banter back and forth between the teams as they were getting ready to run through those tunnels.
Yeah, a little chirpy, right? Both the locker rooms are up back there, and so while they're getting ready to do the run-throughs, it gets a little chirpy. It's a cross-town rival game, so it's fully expected to be a fun game.
Yeah, and it was certainly, nothing out of hand, no unsportsmanlike, just kind of players that both, again, Horn is 0-3, Mesquite's 1-3, and so they're both hungry for a win in general, but then you throw in a win against a rival across the city for a little bit of bragging rights, and that adds a little bit more fuel to the fire, and so both teams looking to get in that win column tonight. Mesquite will be kicking off first, so it'll be Horn that receives the ball, and Mesquite goes for a little bit of a fake kick, but then they reset to normal kickoff position, and we're just a couple of seconds from getting underway here at Memorial Stadium. The Jags versus the Skeeters on Friday Night Football in Mesquite ISD. There's the kick from the Skeeters. It's a nice high kick that'll be fielded at the 10-yard line. That's number 6, Malachi Youngblood, who breaks it to the left. He's at the 40, still on his feet to the 50, cuts back inside, still on his feet all the way to the 40. Several Skeeters try to bring him down, and that's a nice job running down the sideline by Youngblood for the Jags. There's several Skeeters that tried to bring him down, unable to do so.
Yeah, Horn had a really good block on the edge right there that kind of sealed the Skeeters off and gave him a pretty good sideline. And big start for the Horn Jaguars.
And that was Dave Vicente for the Skeeters, able to make that tackle there at about right at the 40. And honestly, Phil, if he doesn't make that tackle, that might be opening kickoff returned all the way for a touchdown to give the Jags an early lead. certainly sets up nice with nice field position. They start with the ball at the Skeeters 40-yard line. And we'll get our first look at the Jag offense here tonight. Just 11 seconds has gone by and already big plays here in this crosstown rivalry game. There's the handoff from number 4, Dante Ware. He's the quarterback for the Jags. He hands it off up the middle for a nice gain on first down. That's Dakari Spencer, who ran the ball for the Jags. I beg your pardon, Cameron Williams, the running back for the Jags, who took that handoff, a pickup of 3 on first down. Dante Ware in the shotgun. He hands the ball off again to Williams up the middle. And a better job there by the Skeeter defense to keep that to only a gain of about 1.
Yeah, Horn already coming out with some tempo offense, but great job by the Skeeters so far, stuffing them on the first 2 runs. This definitely looks like 4-down territory, though, for the Jags.
And that was Needham on the tackle for the Skeeters, and then he had to come off the field after that, so we'll keep an eye on that play. 3rd down and 7 for the Jags. Ware fakes the handoff, has a receiver wide open. That's caught at the 30, the 25. Finally steps out at about the, we'll see if they mark him, about the 23-yard line. It's a nice pitch and catch there. That is Dante Ware to number 11, Kai Furch, for the Jags, and they pick up the first down. So that's kind of an example of just taking what the defense gives you. They were playing kind of soft in coverage there, and the Jags convert the first down easily.
Yeah, corner was bailing, and like you said, it was just an easy pitch and catch at that
Here's
point.
Ware on the quarterback keeper. He runs it all the way to the 5 and crosses the goal line. Nice job of downfield blocking by the linemen, by the receivers, and a nice job by Dante Ware to be patient on that run and kind of wait for the opening in the play design and finally the burst of acceleration, and he puts the Jags on the board. We're just a minute and a half into this game. The Jags have a 6-0 lead.
Yeah, I talked to the Skeeter defense this week about, hey, what's the game plan? What's Horn looking like? And the number one thing they told me was, hey, number 4 for Horn, the quarterback, he can run. We got to keep him contained.
So now to be the kick from Gonzalez. Here's the extra point attempt. It is up, and it is good to give the Jags a 7-0 lead here at Memorial Stadium. All set up after the big kickoff return by Youngblood. They got it up to 40. They took it the rest of the way. The Jags have a 7-0 lead over the Skeeters. Mesquite ISD football.
Presented by the NFHS and the UIL.
Rolling in 3, 2, 1.
We're back here at Memorial Stadium. If you're just tuning in, you're a minute and a half late, and the Jags have already scored after a nice kickoff return. It was Dante Ware on the quarterback keeper, able to give the Jags a 6-0 lead, and then Gonzalez with the extra point. The Jags up 7-0. Here's the kickoff from the Jags. It'll be fielded at the 10-yard line. That's number 4, Krishawn Waters, able to take it out to the left. He's fumbled the ball, and the Jags are going to fall on it. We'll see if the Jags were able to maintain possession. They did recover it first, but then it looked like it maybe came out at the end. We're still waiting on a call from the officials.
I think the Skeeter offense is out there.
It originally looked like the Jags were going to fall on that, and then it must have come out at the end.
Yep, at the end it kind of squirted out of his possession, and a great job by Skeeters number 44. I believe that's Kanger Bright. He jumped all over it, and that was about to be a big game for the Skeeters off a kickoff. So we're trading blows here, Matt.
Absolutely. Well, we just had our first score of the game, which means that we get a chance to do a little giveaway. This giveaway will be to Windsor Florist. It'll be a $25 gift card to Windsor Florist. So if you're listening and you're interested in that gift card, give us a call at 972-882-7768. Again, the number here, 972-882-7768 for a chance to win that $25 gift card to Windsor Florist. Phil, while I was announcing that gift card, the Skeeters run their first play and from on offense, and not extremely kind of successful the way they drew it up. A little bit of miscommunication there.
Yeah, it looks like the quarterback was running read game with the running back, and the DN for Horn went right to him. He didn't even want them to read it, just tackle both of them, and he made a play.
And it was Baez on the tackle for the Jags, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 15. The Skeeters fake the handoff. They take a deep shot. They have a man wide open. It goes right through the hands of the intended receiver. That's number 4, Krishawn Waters, who actually got some separation, Phil, just unable to bring that ball in.
Yeah, it was a great ball by Jaden Clayton right to him. Hit him in the hands, timed it up right, and just unlucky for Waters to drop it.
I mean, yeah, that's a really nice ball delivered by the quarterback for the Skeeters. I mean, that ball is all about timing. You want to hit the receiver as they're breaking, kind of a little bit of an out route. That's a tough throw to ask your quarterback to make, an opposite hash. But a really nice ball delivered there by Clayton, the senior quarterback. Clayton drops back. There's pressure from the Jags. He's able to escape it, and Clayton's just going to throw that ball away to avoid the sack. Almost lands right in the trash can. You wouldn't get any points for that, but certainly would have been a little bit of a dude perfect type shot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Matt, keep an eye out. The Skeeters have been rotating two quarterbacks. One's a runner, and then Clayton, he's more the pocket passer type. So it's going to be interesting how we handle the 2 quarterback situation if we go that route.
Yeah, Horn comes into tonight's contest. They average 102 passing yards per game. The Jags are averaging 270 yards rushing, so they certainly like to go to the ground. Here's the punt from the Skeeters. It's a nice high spiral. The Jags thought about fair catching that, but I think that's a good idea there by Malachi Youngblood not to try to go for that. Just let it bounce. And for the Skeeters, that pays off because it probably gets another 10 to 12 yards on the punt after the bounce.
Yeah, man, high school, getting punts on the high school kids, it's tough. The guys, they're not focused. Sometimes they muff punt. So a lot of times coaches just yell safe, 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 safe. Leave the ball alone. Give it the extra 10-yard bounce. At least we have the ball. And Horn get the ball back and looking to score another one, make it 14-0.
So we'll get our second look tonight at the Jags offense. Again, the Jags come into tonight's contest, Phil, really relying on the ground game. 270 yards rushing per game. A lot of that Dante Ware, the quarterback, just under 125 yards rushing. Where's the quarterback? They bring a man in motion. They hand the ball off. That's to number 7, Abu Kamara, who runs all the way down just past the 50-yard line. Really like that play design from the Jags to bring Kamara in motion and then kind of a little pitch in front. He does the rest of the work.
Yeah, technically that's considered a pass play because it was a toss-up for a pitch, but that's a perfect executed jet sweep motion for the receiver. And why would you throw the ball? Just keep handing it off if you're going to get 15, 20 yards at a time.
Absolutely. So Dante Ware, again, they'll bring Kamara in motion again. They don't give it to him this time. Instead, they give it to number 5, Cameron Williams, up the middle. The Skeeters think they have the ball. They think they came out.
Ball was on the deck.
They're certainly celebrating, and yeah, there's the call from the official. The Skeeters have the ball after the big hit. It was Cameron Williams running the ball up the middle. And then a big hit from the Skeeters. That ball pops out. And a great job by the Skeeter defense there to give the ball back to their offense.
Matt, we're not even 4 minutes in. We've seen a great return on a kickoff. We've seen a touchdown, and we've seen 2 fumbles. So here it is, crosstown rival game. We expected this.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be an exciting game. We knew that the crowd was going to be into it. We knew that the players were going to be into it. Again, both teams coming off a loss last week. You want to get that win, especially when you're playing a school that's just right down the road from you, and you get to brag for a whole year. And so there's a lot on the line for both teams tonight. The Jags offense got it done early, scoring with under a minute and a half in the game. But that time, it's the Skeeter defense that wins the battle. Forces the turnover and gives the ball back to their offense at the 45. It's Clayton in at the quarterback position. He's in the shotgun. They bring a man in motion, but there was a delay of game. They did not get that playoff in time.
Well, I think that's a good thing that they didn't get the payoff. There was a lot of confusion on the motions, who's going, who's not. It just looked like the Skeers were a little confused right here. So actually, I think this worked out for the Skeeters.
And the bad news for the Skeeters, Phil, is that that's the second time on their first play of possession they've gone backwards.
Yeah, 1st and 15 is not the way you want to start.
Certainly kind of obviously puts you in a situation you do not want to be in, but you got to chip away at it one play at a time here. The Skeeters will roll out to the right. They try to throw it back to the left on a wheel route. They had a man open, but that ball overthrown. That was Clayton, the quarterback, intended for Krishawn Waters, but that ball goes over his head. We do have a winner in tonight's broadcast, the first giveaway of the night to Windsor Florist. It's Stephen Perry out of Greenville, Texas. We appreciate you listening, and Stephen wanted us to know that he loves the Skeeters.
Oh, I love that,
So,
Steve.
Phil, that'll make you happy as a Skeeter alum, but we appreciate that. Stephen Perry, thank you for listening. Congratulations on your gift card. And now we have another penalty here on 2nd and 15. We'll wait and see what the call is. The officials are going to talk this over. Phil, did you see anything down there?
Was it delay of game again?
It looks like it's going to be an illegal substitution, yeah. Against the Skeeters, and so on their first play, they were backed up for the delay of game. That time, backed up on 2nd down for the illegal substitution, and so that's going to be 2nd and 20 now. And the Skeeters are going to have to get a good chunk of this yardage back to set up a 3rd and manageable. They fake the handoff. They have a receiver running a slant. It was number 4, Krishawn Waters, who was able to get a hand on that, but just unable to bring it in. That ball falls incomplete.
Yeah, again, great route by Krishawn Waters, great ball by Jaden Clayton, and, not sure with my angle here, but I think Krishawn Waters probably should have came up with that ball.
Yeah, I think that was a really nice ball. I think that's a good point, Phil. I don't think that's on the quarterback there. Tell you what, easier said than done.
For sure.
Jaden Clayton threw that ball about 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's got a rocket of an arm.
I mean, that was an incredible pass, a tight spiral, and that's tough to bring in, but Juan Waters certainly wishes he had back. So it's 3rd and 20 now for the Skeeters. Clayton drops back, and the pressure from the Jags is going to get there. That's going to be number 33 for the Jags. That's Baez again, the 6'3", 205-pound defensive lineman, getting it done. And the Skeeters went from 1st and 15 to 2nd and 20 to 3rd and 20, and now will punt at 4th and 31.
Yeah, keep an eye out on Horn right here. They might be bringing the house. You got them backed up. You got a little bit of that momentum. I wouldn't be surprised if Horn just kind of sends it right now, see if they can go block this punt.
So here's the punt for the Skeeters. It's the 2nd one of the night for him. This time not so good. It's an end-over-end kick that's super high. The Jags just need to get out of the way of that. And I'm not sure there was a player for the Jags who was kind of running dangerously close to it instead of just getting away. Nice job by the coaching staff to kind of coach him up after that moment. Certainly would have been a costly turnover if that ball had accidentally hit the Jag player that was in the area. So now we're going to get another look at the Jags, but before that, we do have a penalty flag on there. It's our 3rd or 4th penalty here of the game so far.
We're going to be here all night, Matt.
Well, let's hope both teams clean it up just a little bit for their sake and crowds and ours. Certainly the penalties can slow down a game quite a bit, but we'll see what it is.
Matt, one thing to note, by the way.
It's going to be a personal foul against the Skeeters. So that punt was already a short one, Phil. And now the Jags are going to get 15 more yards added to it in their favor after the personal foul from the Skeeters.
Yeah, this is a game about field position. And a lot of times that's because of special teams. And right now the Skeeters special team is really suffering, and Horn is thriving. And they're excited about this field position right here. They got about 29 yards to score a touchdown. So good field position for the Jags.
You wonder if the Jags might try to take a home run shot here on first down in this area of the field. It's Dante Ware as the quarterback. He'll keep it to himself. He'll try to get to the left, and the Skeeters do a really nice job of kind of beating the man that was trying to block each one of them. And they won that one-on battle. There was about 3 Skeeters in the area able to make that tackle. And that's a good job to bring down Dante Ware. We saw him earlier when he gets out in the open field. It's really tough to bring him down. So good job by the Skeeter defense there to force that and push the Jags back.
Yeah, got to set the edge against Ware, and then squeeze it as well. Just bottle him up, make sure he doesn't get loose, because when Dante gets loose, Matt, he can fly.
Yeah, Dante Ware again averaging 125 yards rushing. This time it's Ware in the shotgun, and we're going to get a timeout from Horn right before that snap. I guess they didn't like what they saw out on the field, so the coaches decided to take a timeout, and with that we'll also take one. Mesquite ISD football will We're back live here at Memorial Stadium. It's the Jags versus the Skeeters on Jag homecoming night. Horn's homecoming night. Again, it's a good crowd that's come out. Horn being the home team, even though Mesquite is not too far away from Memorial Stadium. Just under 7 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. The Jags have a lead 7-0. Ware throws the ball. That's to number 9, C.J. Jones. Out there kind of in a little bit of a flat route. And Jones, the 6'3", 225-pound tight end, picking up about 5 yards on the play to set up 3rd and 7. We'll call it 3rd and 8.
Again, we're in 2-down territory, so if they want to run Ware right here, I wouldn't be surprised. And if they don't get the first down, then let them throw it.
So Ware's in the shotgun. He's got 2 receivers to his left, a single receiver to his right. Ware, a nice ball delivered on time. That's caught at the 21-yard line and eventually brought down all the way to about the 15. Eventually that was Jacoby Johnson on the tackle. We'll wait and try to get a number for the Jags on who caught that.
Like we talked about with the Skeeters, they're just really soft with the corners and just a pitch and catch. Easy first down for the Jags.
Here's Ware. He'll hand the ball off to Cameron Williams up the middle for a nice pickup. Crosses the 10 all the way down to about the 9-yard line. I believe on that previous catch, I think it was Santana Carrizosa, the leading receiver for the Jags. He comes into tonight's contest about 44 yards per game receiving. And really that was a nice timed ball there by Dante Ware. Picked up the first down, and now 2nd and goal from the 5. Or 2nd and 5, I'm sorry. Here's the pass from Ware. It's the deep corner of the end zone. He had number 11, the intended target, Furch, open, but he just overthrew him. And that's one that Ware's going to wish that he had back, as Furch had beat his man one-on-one. Just got to put a little bit more air under that, Phil, and let your receiver go to work.
Yeah, it looks like Ware didn't step into his throw. He looked like he was just kind of on his back foot a little bit. If he just kind of stepped into it and just put a little air under there, that's a touchdown.
So again, 3rd and 5 from the 9, so the Jags can pick up a first down here. We'll see what they elect to do, maybe a quarterback keeper. Here's Ware, a quick pass to the outside that's caught by the receiver who makes a man miss to the 5, and then the Skeeters able to bring him down right there at about the 6-yard line. They needed to get a little more than that, so that's going to set up 4th and 2. And I think the Jags are going to keep the offense out on the field. I wouldn't be shocked at all, Phil, if we see a handoff here to Cameron Williams, the 205-pound running back.
I'm thinking Dante Ware again.
You think Dante Ware on the quarterback keep?
He's the guy.
So we'll see the Jags get the call from the sideline. There's 7 on the play clock. The snap to Ware. He hands the ball off to Williams up the middle. And the Skeeters stand tall. We'll wait and see where the ball's spotted. That's about as close as you can ask for. Looks like we have an official pointing in the direction of the Skeeters that they made the stop there on 4th down.
Huge.
And that is a massive stop. Again, the running back for the Jags, Cameron Williams, 205-pound senior running back. You needed him to get 2 yards, and the Skeeters gave him 1. Maybe 1.9. I mean, that is as close as you can get.
Hey, man, I mean, considering their field position and where they started, the Skeeters are feeling pumped right now that it's still 7-0.
Yeah, that's a good point. In back-to-back position, they forced the turnover, and then they get a huge stop there. It's 4th and 2 from about the 6-yard line, maybe the 7-yard line. They get the stop, and now you got to really just kind of work your way out of this dangerous spot on the field. They'll hand the ball off up the middle. The Jags do a nice job of getting in the backfield almost right as that ball is in the hands of the running back, and I'm not sure that they gained anything. They might have lost yardage on that play.
Yeah, I think they lost maybe a yard.
Yeah, so they are going to go backwards, and unfortunately for the Skeeters, that's kind of been a common theme of the night. It does look like we have an injured Jag on the field, but we'll keep it here for the time being. And Phil, this is actually my first look at both of these teams this year. I don't know if you've had the chance to broadcast either one.
Yeah, I got to broadcast Mesquite last week, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen West Mesquite, I've seen Poteet, I've seen North, but it's my first chance to get a look at the Jags and the Skeeters. And while the training staff tends to the Jaguar that's down on the field, we'll also take a little bit of a break here. You're listening to Mesquite ISD Football on KOM, and we'll be back in a moment. All right, we're back here at Memorial Stadium. Good sign for the Jags. The injured player is able to get off the field. The Skeeters get the Jags to jump, and so they'll get a free play here, and they take a shot on the free play field, which I like, but fortunately are not able to capitalize as they throw that ball over the head of the intended target.
That's the best 5 yards right there you can get, a free one.
Absolutely, and you love seeing teams, hey, if we're going to get this free play, why not take a shot down the field? And unfortunately, for the Skeeters, just not really an opportunity to even go up and get that ball, as it was well over the intended target's head. That was Clayton trying to hit Rashawn Waters, but unable to connect on that pass. But they get a free 5 anyway, and it'll set up 2nd and 7. Remember that first down play the Skeeters lost to. And this time, it'll be Clayton under center.
Wow.
He'll pitch it to his left to the running back who tries to find some space. That's number 3, Daryl Collins for the Skeeters. And I like the idea, Phil, of trying to get Collins out in space, but that Jag defense having none of that.
Yeah, first time I've seen the Skeeters go under center this year and throw a little curveball to the Jags to see how they would handle the new formation. And kudos to the Jags. They were all over that halfback toss.
So that'll bring 3rd and 7 to the Skeeter offense. And they're again backed up at their own 8-yard line.
It's a big play, Matt.
So we'll see here if they maybe take a deep shot and try to pick it up or run and get some yards for the punt. They are going to fake the handoff. They have 2 receivers running down the field. Clayton dodges the sack, throws him at receiver down, has a receiver down at the 40. That was Waters, the intended target. Man, what a nice ball delivered by Clayton, and a nice effort by Waters, just unable to bring that catch in.
I mean, really great job by Clayton to kind of scramble, keep his eyes downfield. He actually had some great form and technique, and he actually found Krishawn Waters right there on the sideline. And if Krishawn comes down with that ball, that's a huge first down for the Skeeters.
Yeah, Waters was trying to catch that ball. His body kind of falling out of bounds awkwardly. He had to readjust. But I do like the ball there, the placement by Clayton, putting that on the outside where only your person's going to get it or nobody. Here's a punt for the Skeeters. It'll be fielded at the 30-yard line. That's Youngblood. Catches it at the 30, able to take it all the way down to about the 25-yard line, where the Jags will start again. I mean, the theme of the night for the Jags, Phil, excellent field possession.
Yeah, field position's been so huge for the Jags. I mean, they've pinned the Skeeters back onto their own end zone, whether it's on offense or defense. It's been excellent field position for the Jags.
And the Skeeter defense is going to have to stand tall again here. They were able to get the job on the previous Jags possession. The Jags were able to go all the way down to about the 6-yard line. We're 4th and 2, and the Skeeters came up with a big stop, and they're going to have to do so again here. Our score on Memorial, Jags up 7-0, seeing if they can add to it here on this offensive possession. It's Dante Ware faking the handoff, bouncing out to the left, still on his feet, crosses the 20 down to the 15, eventually will step out of bounds right there. But, Phil, we are seeing just the kind of weapon that Ware can be when he has the ball in his hands and a lot of green in front of him.
Yeah, he can definitely fly. A lot of design plays for him, and that one for sure was a design run. And once he gets his wheels going, he can fly.
And I think we're going to get a timeout from the Skeeters. And so with that timeout, we'll also step away from our moment. Mesquite ISD football will continue. Again, if you're just tuning in, the Jags have a 7-0 lead over the Skeeters. 2 minutes and 42 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Matt Kane alongside Phil Elia, Patrick Ross back at master control. Potteet's playing tonight against Greenville. Greenville's currently leading that game 7-6. So we'll keep an eye on that contest as the night progresses. Here's Dante Ware. He takes the handoff, hands it off to Cameron Williams up the middle. And they've gone to that a lot tonight, Phil, just really trying to, run that same play. There's really nothing fancy to it. It's just kind of give the ball up to Cameron and see what he can get up the middle.
Yeah, it's the number one play we always taught when I coached football, and that's zone. It's man-on-man scheme, run game. Let the running back kind of press it and see if he can find a gap and hit it.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Jags. The ball at the 11, so they can get a first down, and we'll have the ball at the 1 if able to do so. Here's Dante Ware in the shotgun, fakes the handoff, takes a big shot, tries to hit a man across the middle of the field. He tried to hit Kamara, but a nice play by the Skeeter defensive back to break up that pass.
Yeah, that almost was an interception, Matt.
Yeah, thought it was going to be an easy touchdown, and then all of a sudden, the safety for the Skeeters comes out of nowhere and bats that ball down. Honestly, Phil, I think he could have intercepted that, but decided just to go ahead and bat it down to be safe, and so it'll bring up 2nd and 10. It was Walker, the defensive back for the Skeeters on that play. Here's Ware. He takes the snap. He keeps it for himself, goes to the right, bounces back to the left. He's still on his feet at the 15, to the 10. Tries to cut back inside, but lost his footing, Phil. And instead just slide down pretty much right where he started that whole thing at the 10-yard line.
Yeah, great job by the linebacker, John Carlo Needham. he's catching Ware on the backside cut, and he made Ware cut back inside, and when he went to cut, he fell. So that's a great tackle right there by Needham.
But I think that just shows you how dangerous Ware can be. I mean, that play was designed to go to the right, almost was able to bounce it back to the opposite side of the field. But like I said, he tries to cut it back inside and kind of lost his footing. Looks like we're going to get another timeout here, but we'll keep it here, Phil, and just kind of
let's talk.
Thoughts on the game so far, how it's played out, kind of what did you anticipate coming into tonight's contest, and what have you seen so far?
Yeah, look, Matt, this game is huge. I was thinking about this and talked to the coaches for both teams. The team that wins this game tonight is going to be 1-1 in district play. And then your playoff hopes start up, and that's when you get going and saying, okay, we got our first win, let's start rolling from there. And then this is why you can see Mesquite's call their second timeout in the quarter. It's because they don't want to give up a touchdown or points right here because it's such a big game. Winner here is going to have a lot of hopes and aspirations for the playoffs. The loser, unfortunately, it's going to be a tough road ahead, and they're going to have to grind a way to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, Phil, once you're in district play, every play certainly, you know, your non-district games matter, but certainly these games not only matter, but they count, right?
Yeah.
And you have a tough district that you're in, so you've got to really take advantage of any win that you can. You've got DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Lancaster, Waxahachie, Duncanville, Horn, Skyline, and Mesquite all in 11-6A.
Yeah.
Not a fun district to be in.
District of Doom.
Yep. Here's Ware. He's the quarterback keeper to the right. Now he's going to throw to his receiver to the left. That's number 7, Kamara, who catches the ball, works his way down to about the 5-yard line. And so on 3rd and 9, the Jags pick up about 5 or 6. We'll wait and see what the spot is. I think it's going to be about 4th and 3.
Yep, 4th and 3.
When it's all said and done. And so we'll see what the Jags, I mean, almost a similar spot on the field, Phil, where they were earlier trying to go for 4th and 2.
You know, I keep saying this, and I might sound like a broken record, but this is a huge play for the game right here. 4th down, Jags convert. They more likely to score, if not turnover on downs.
It's Ware in the quarterback. He's on the shotgun. He takes it, drops back, looking for a man downfield. He decides to cut up the middle. He's at the 3, he's at the 2, and he crosses the end zone for the touchdown. And that is an excellent job by Ware. He wanted to pass the ball. There was nothing there, and instead of forcing it, decides to keep it himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best situation you could have put Ware in was, hey, let's spread it out. Let's put a pass on there. Hey, Ware, if there's nothing here, buddy, go do what you do with your legs and go get us a touchdown with those legs, and that's what he did.
And I love the decision there. A lot of times, like we said, Phil, you know, you'll see teams panic.
Yep.
And you'll see quarterbacks kind of force something. But the senior quarterback, the experience, he decides to just keep it himself. Now, we do have a penalty. And that's going to, I'm not sure who they called that against. Phil, I don't know if you caught that or not.
Yeah, I think it was against Horn.
So it will be Gonzalez in for the extra point attempt. The kick is up. The kick is good. And that extends the lead. The Jags have over the Skeeters 14-0 here. So the Jags looking good on homecoming night. You're listening to Mesquite ISD football on KUOM. Our coverage will continue in a moment.
This portion of our broadcast is brought to you by Dr. Susan Park and Mesquite Eye Associates. Mesquite Eye Associates, 1128 North Galloway Avenue in Mesquite, 972-288-4427. MesquiteEye.com.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get up. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit
Back to the bumper in 3, 2, 1.
Well, here's the kickoff for the Jags. After the penalty, they have to kick it off at the 25-yard line. It's fielded by number 8 for the Skeeters, Jacoby Johnson. It bounces out to the left, brings it back to the middle, and when he does, he is met right in the middle of the field by a Jag defender. That's Jeremiah Lane delivering the big hit to the Skeeters.
Yeah, good. Finally, better field position for the Skeeters, Matt. I mean, I feel like they've been backed up the whole night, and finally they can get the ball at a decent spot. And let's see if they can go get a score and respond here.
Yeah, I definitely think for the Skeeters, you've got to find a way to get some kind of rhythm going. Again, the Skeeters come into tonight's contest. They average 152 yards passing per game, 73 yards rushing per game, and so they got to look to get something going here on offense. Here's the ball delivered by Clayton. They had a receiver on the outside. I believe that was number 4 again, Krishawn Waters, that he tried to go to and just, again, kind of falls through his hands.
I love the play design by Coach Witt for the offense coordinator. If your run game is struggling, how can we get quick, short yards? Well, let's run some quick game right there for the receivers. Toss it out there. It's an easy catch. Go get 4 or 5 yards. 2nd and 5 is way nice for a coordinator than 2nd and 10.
And Waters, that's probably the 3rd or 4th pass that's gone right through his hands. I mean, he could have close to 70 yards receiving tonight if he had caught those. This time, the Skeeters will drop back. They try to hit a man running down the seam route. That's number 7 for the Skeeters, Jerome Brodus, who was open, but again, the ball just thrown a little too far ahead. I mean, Phil, we're talking about, some really nice, good decisions by Jaden Clayton a majority of the night as far as, who he's trying to go to.
Yep.
But just the ball thrown, 3 or 4 yards too far in front, 3 or 4 yards too outside.
Yeah.
And if he's able to connect on those passes, his stats look a lot better, but just unable to do so far. And so it's going to be 3rd and 10 for the Skeeters. Clayton's in the shotgun. They try to set up the screen. They hit the receiver. He's on the left. That's number 7. Jerome Brodus still on his feet. Crosses the 45 all the way down to the 50. By far the Skeeters' best offensive play of the night as they pick up the first down.
I love the play design. You had trips on one side. You flared the running back to the trip side, and then you run a tunnel screen to Brodus on the single side. It was a great play design and great first down for the Skeeters.
And with that first down conversion, the Skeeters are just going to jog back to the sideline and watch the final seconds of the first quarter tick away here at Memorial Stadium. The Jags holding on to that 14-0 lead over the Skeeters, and our coverage of Mesquite ISD football.
Bumper in 3, 2, 1.
Well, welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Matt Cain alongside Phil Elia, Patrick Ross back at master control. The Jags on homecoming night have a 14-0 lead over the Skeeters. Here's the Skeeters' first play of the second quarter. It's number 15 quarterback for the Skeeters, Jaden Clayton. Tried to go downfield to some receivers, but a really nice job in coverage by the defensive backs for the Jags.
Yeah, great job by the Horn defense to kind of stay at home, stay with your guys, but great job by Clayton to just go get yards. I mean, right now the Skeeters are struggling, right? Go find positive yards because, again, when we talk about the offensive coordinator, Coach Witt, he wants the playbook to open back up.
Well, Jerome Brodus and Krishawn Waters have been open at various points of the night, just unable to connect really on a big play. So here's Clayton in the shotgun. He'll do a quick pass out to Brodus, who catches it, crosses the 45, finally steps out of bounds. Let's call it the 41-yard line. Almost pretty much right there at the marker. We'll see if they give him the first down, and they do. So the Skeeters, they've really struggled tonight to connect on those passes, but they're able to connect there on Brodus to pick up the first down.
Yeah, you can feel like the Skeeters offense starting to kind of come along that. It looks like they found something, and now they're going to keep coming to it.
And that was Calvin Blaine for the Jags on the tackle. And so the Skeeters now have the ball at the 41-yard line, looking to get something going on offense tonight. It's been a struggle. Here's Clayton in the shotgun, fakes the handoff, drops back. He's going to take a deep shot down the field. Some miscommunication between him and the receiver. Pass intended for Krishan Waters, but looked like Clayton was anticipating Waters to keep going, and not sure what happened there, but Waters stopped that route short, and the ball was well overthrown.
Yeah, Waters looked like he got jammed up by the corner, and so when he was trying to release on his route and stem out of it, he just kind of got jammed up. And so Clayton, by the way, he has an arm, Matt. He can actually chunk the rock. I mean, he's got a cannon on him.
Yeah, every ball that he's thrown, again, has been the right decision, has looked nice, just really struggled to connect. Second and 10. The Skeeters this time will hand the ball off up the middle, and eventually bounces it out to the left. That's number 3 for the Skeeters, Darryl Collins. On the tackle was Donnie Durham, the senior defensive back. Darryl Collins, who just ran that ball for the Skeeters, is their leading rusher coming into tonight's contest, averaging just under 34 yards per game. So now on 3rd and 7, you wonder, Phil, if they're in 4-down territory here, just to get something going on offense.
Yeah, I for sure think they are. Right here, I'm probably looking for Brodus right here. He's been kind of your sure-handed guy tonight.
3rd and 7 from the 38. Clayton's going to run the option to the right. He's going to pitch it to Collins, who gets to the outside and is going to be right there at the marker. Now we do have, I don't know about, what's the maximum amount of flags you can have on the field? Because I think we've done it.
It looked like on the backside of the play, away from the option, looks like a Horn Jag player ripped the helmet off of a Skeeter. I bet this is going to be 15 yards added.
Yeah, and I thought we had a flag thrown on the other side of the field too, but I'm not seeing one anymore. So yeah, we are going to get a personal foul against the Jags. And so the Skeeters got a nice gain there on that play, but they're going to be helped out a little bit due to the penalty from the Jaguars.
And great play design, by the way. The Skeeters came out in trips look, and it looked like the Jags just overextended themselves to the trip side, and then the quarterback and running back ran speed option to the other side. So great play design, great job by the Skeeters.
Yeah, a little bit of a wrinkle that we really haven't seen tonight so far there from the Skeeters, and so now the Skeeters finally getting something going against the Jags here on offense. Under 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. It's 1st and 10, the ball at the 17. Clayton takes the snap, keeps it himself, gets to the outside, crosses the 15, still on his feet all the way down. Finally steps out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. And the Skeeters looking much better here on this offensive possession.
Yeah, maybe the Skeeters look like they maybe had some jitterbugs, some nervousness coming into this game. It's Horn's homecoming, first responders. But the Skeeters, it looks like they're comfortable, right, Matt? I mean, it looks like they're in their groove right now offensively.
Yeah, Clayton certainly looks like he's calmed down at the quarterback position for the Skeeters. And, again, they've had several open receivers tonight, just unable to really connect. And this time we get a new look here by the Skeeters. 2 backs right behind Clayton. They'll hand the ball off. That's number 1, Havin Garrett, who goes up the middle behind that offensive line and is able to pick up about 3 on the play. It's going to bring up 3rd and less than 1. I mean, that 3rd down marker is right there on top of the 1st down marker. So really you're thinking about, you got 2 plays here to get about half a yard.
An interesting play design. We were in a power I formation, and interesting fact, Coach Ritt came from Longview. So this is a Longview look right now offensively.
There you go. They go to the same look again. Clayton under center he goes the quarterback keep, kind of just falls underneath that offensive line. And he really only needed about half a yard. I think he got just that, able to pick up the first down. And so now it's going to be 1st and goal for the Skeeters. The ball right there at the 6-yard line. And the Skeeters will have 4 plays to try and get into the end zone and cut into this Jag lead that they've established 14-0.
Yeah, again, I love the formation. I love what Coach Ritt's doing with the Skeeters offensively.
Here's the formation again, the 3rd time. This time they hand the ball off to number 3. That's Darryl Collins, who's able to pick up a couple. I wonder if they're just going to keep running that same type of formation.
Yeah, it's that mono-y-mono, Matt. It's let the guys in the trenches push. It's power football. It's setting the tone, and I love it.
Now, here's what I wouldn't be surprised if we line up again like that and we fake the handoff and maybe try to roll Clayton out in open space, get the Jags to try to key in on the run. We'll see what they do. Clayton's under center. He will hand off the ball. That time it's to Collins again, and he gets all the way down to about the 1-yard line. So we've seen this formation from the Skeeters about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 plays in a row now at this point. And we do have an injury on the field. That's a Skeeter that the training staff has rushed out there to try and see what's going on. And so with that, we'll take a break. You're listening to Mesquite ISD Football on KEOM. After an injury. And so the Skeeters now 3rd and 1. The ball at the 1. They'll go to the quarterback sneak. And we'll wait and get the official call from the official. There's the sign right there. The Skeeters able to cross the goal line for the first time tonight. I believe that was the quarterback keeper there by Jaden Clayton. They just needed to get across that goal line. The ball was at the 1, and they were able to do so. And now the Skeeters, by far, they really struggled on offense, but that time really found their rhythm and able to cross the goal line to cut into the lead. The score now Jags 14, the Skeeters 6, with the extra point coming up. Looks like there's someone that jumped off sides there. Here's the kick. The extra point attempt is up, and it is good. I believe that's number 36, Dave Vicente, the kicker and punter for the Skeeters. We do have a flag on the play, but I believe that's going to go against the Jags and it'll be declined. I think they jumped into the neutral zone there on that extra point attempt. And so, you know, Phil, the Skeeters have really struggled on offense, but that time looked much, much better.
Yeah, it looked like they had a bunch of new wrinkles added to their offense. Again, we just mentioned Coach Rick coming from Longview, has his ties with the Longview style of football. So we saw some power football. We saw some speed option. There's a lot of things that Longview does. And, you know, Longview's, you know, when we talk about successful football programs in the state of Texas, whether Longview's 5A or 6A, they're always successful. And they, you know, they win state championships and produce really good, talented football players that play at the next level college. And a lot of them make it to the NFL.
And Phil, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that was the possession for the Skeeters that, you know, the Jags had to kick off from the 25, I think, on that. And so the Skeeters were able to start in much better spot than all of their other drives tonight. And so that obviously helps too. So good job by the Skeeter offense to capitalize off the mistake that forced the Jags to kick off from the 25, and then they were able to put together some nice plays and take a lot of time off the clock on that drive.
Yeah, a lot of clock off that drive. Give your defense a break. let the coaches make their adjustments on the sideline. And then here we go, 6 or 7 minutes later. Now the defense, well rested, can come out there and see what they can do against the Horn Jaguars.
And so we'll wait the kickoff from the Skeeters. Again, it's Dave Vicente kicking off for the Skeeters. It's a nice high kick that's fielded at the 20. The ball brought out, still on his feet, going down the sideline, trying to stay in bound. It's really hard to get a number. There's about, 20 players around that area. I think it's number 24 for the Jags who returned that. I think it's Rodarius Wilson.
Yeah, it is Rodarius.
You can kind of see when he caught it, and then all of a sudden there was several players blocking us from that number completely on the other side of the field. And so the Jags now will start with the ball at the 39-yard line, and I believe this is their first possession of the second quarter here. The Skeeters really able to go on that long drive and eventually cap it off with some points. And so if you're just tuning in, with 7.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter, the Jags have a 14-7 lead over the Skeeters. The Jags now, Dante Ware in the quarterback position. They had 2 receivers to the left and 2 to the right. Then they all of a sudden switch the formation. They go to a quick pitch to the right. That's number 7, Kamara, who tries to get to the outside. He was able to get there, but a good job in pursuit by the Skeeter defense.
Yeah, that was a nice little play design by the Jags. I like what they did right there. Bunch of guys in motion at once, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they had, again, 2 to the left, 2 to the right, and then all of a sudden, all 11 were right next to each other. And I like the idea of trying to give that quick pitch out to your running back. See if you can get him in open space. Again, that's Kamara, the senior running back. Dante Ware, the shotgun. He'll hand the ball off up the middle. This time, it's, I believe, Cameron Williams who runs that for a short gain. So a good job by the Skeeter defense on first and second down to keep those for only 2 or 3 yard gains each. And now it is going to be 3rd and 4 for the Jags. The ball at the 45-yard line. And we'll see if the Jags decide to keep the ball in the hands of Dante Ware and try to pick up this first down.
Yeah, he's been kind of their go-to guy, especially if they do a pass play. He's got some great scramble and mobility.
Ware will look to the sideline to get the play. The right guard for the Jags, I believe, that's the right tackle for the Jags. I believe we'll get a false start called against him. And so what was going to be 3rd and 4 now turns into 3rd and 9, and that certainly changes your play call a little bit here. Those 5-yard penalties sure are going to cost the Jags dearly here if they're only able to get 4 or 5 on this play. That would have been a first down, but the penalty is going to make it short. So we'll see what they decide to do here on 3rd and 9. Ware's in the shotgun. He's got 3 receivers to his left. He'll look to his left, nothing there. The scrambles, he'll take a shot downfield, and there is going to be caught at the 15-yard line. Coming out of nowhere is number 11, Furch. It looked like that was going to be intercepted. There was 2 Skeeter players right in the area, and then Furch comes out of nowhere for the Jags to make the grab, but hold on.
Back it up.
It's all for naught. On the opposite side of the field is a flag down, and I think it's going to be holding against the Jags. That was about a 50-yard pass play that's coming off the board because of the holding penalty.
And Matt, that was not a great thrown ball. It was up there forever, and like you said, it looked like the Skeeters were kind of getting underneath it.
Yeah.
And just kind of misjudged it, and Horn Jag receiver was right there to pick it up. So it was a huge play, but negated by the holding penalty.
Yeah. He just came out of nowhere with Furch and able to make the grab, but the holding penalty brings it back. It's 3rd and 19, the ball at the 30-yard line. Here's Dante Ware. I think we have another penalty goodness, this first half has just been flooded with penalties.
Yeah, it's what's crazy. It's penalties that kills the offense so much that they're going back and back and back. I mean, this is the second or third time we've seen 3rd and 24, 3rd and 25, those kind of situations.
Well, and this is the kind of stuff that you're in district play now. Obviously, both teams already have a district game under their belt, but you've got to be playing your best football when you enter into district play, especially considering the opponents that you're facing in this district. You got to play mistake-free football or as best you can.
Yeah, both teams believe they can beat each other, so it's a big game.
So now 3rd and 24, the ball at the 25-yard line. Ware drops back. Good job of protection by the O-line. Ware's just going to try to keep it, get what he can. He crosses the 35 to 40, still on his feet, all the way to the 45, finally steps out of bounds at about the 47-yard line, but still going to be well shy of the first down, I believe.
Do they go for it here, Matt?
I say well shy. 4th and 2, so he picked up a good chunk of that. I didn't think I thought they were going to mark him down a little before that. They are kind of talking about the spot, it seems like, over there.
Let's do an ID.
We'll pause for just a moment for some station identification. So we're back here on KOM, and the officials are talking about what's going on. Again, just to kind of go back to that previous play, Ware was trying to throw that. He decided to keep it himself. It was 3rd and I think 24, if I remember correctly. Ware picked up a huge chunk of that with his feet, but there's quite a lengthy conversation going on the opposite side of the field from where we're broadcasting between the Mesquite High School coaching staff and the officials. Looks like the officials are going to come out here and make a call for us. I don't know that we're going to be able to hear anything, but we'll certainly know more in a second.
It looks like they called a legal forward pass, Matt.
I didn't even see him throw the ball.
Yeah, I think when Ware was scrambling, for some reason, as he was approaching the sideline, he threw the ball out of bounds. And I think the referees got together to talk about it, and they dropped the flag, and they're calling it a legal forward pass. And now the white hat and the referee crew are coming to the Horn sideline to talk about it. So there's going to be a lengthy conversation about it, but I'm pretty sure that's what we saw from up here. At least that's what I saw.
So now, after the lengthy conversation with the Mesquite coaching staff, the official gets to have what I would imagine is not a fun conversation with the Horn coaching staff. It was going to be 4th and 2, and now they've got, after the penalty, it backed up 4th and 7.
And Matt, the reason that's a big call is because it was going to be 4th and 2, and usually you put your offense out there, see what the defense is lining up, and see if you can draw them off sides. But now that they get backed up, I think they're going to punt.
Yeah, so they indeed are going to bring out the punt team. So a huge call there that I still think the Horn coaching staff maybe wants just a little bit of an explanation there. It's Coach Hughes.
I don't think we actually saw a flag, though, right?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's so far away from us, and there was so much going on that I couldn't tell exactly what was happening. But nonetheless, it is 4th and 7, and the Jags are going to decide to punt the ball. Here's the punt. It's a spiral, low line drive that's going to bounce at the 30, keep rolling. Eventually will go out of bounds at about the 24-yard line, and that's where the Skeeters will start with the ball. So a really good sign if you're a Skeeter fan. They go down and they score. They're down 14-0, but then they go on that long drive in the second quarter. They finish it off with points, and then the defense comes out on the field and gets a stop. And now the Skeeters have a chance with just under 6 minutes to go here in the first half to maybe go down on a similar drive and put some points on the board and tie this up.
Hey, Matt, I mean, do you feel like Horn had all the momentum in the beginning, great kickoff, couple of scores, and now it slowly feels like the Skeeters have taken that momentum away, and it's on their side now. So huge drive coming up right here for the Skeeters. See if they can tie it up to make it 14-all.
Yeah, it really did feel like the Jags were at a point where they might run away with this.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the Skeeters do a nice job to bounce back. And so here's Clayton in the shotgun. He scrambles to his right, bounces back up the middle. And, Phil, he picks up about 3 or 4 on that. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but you'll take that on first down. There's nothing there for the receivers. And you love that by the quarterback just to take what you can get.
Yeah, Clayton's nowhere by any means, but he runs with some power behind him. He's a squatty, bigger guy, so he's got a lot of power to him. And the Skeeter run game's been really struggling. And right now the best rusher is Clayton right now, getting us 3-4 yards and making it second and manageable.
So this time they will bring Clayton under center. They've got a single running back. Mind them, they fake the pitch and bring a man in motion. That's number 8. Jacoby Johnson. I like the play design to fake the pitch to Darryl Collins and then hand it off to Jacoby Johnson, who was coming in motion, but a good job by the Jag defense, kind of eye discipline there to make the stop.
Yeah, very disciplined by the Jags. Great play design again by the Skeeters, just doing everything they can to have something of a run game, but man, Horn really stuffing that run attack.
So it's 3rd and 5, the ball at the 29-yard line. Under 5 minutes to go here in the first half. Clayton in the shotgun. He's got Collins to his left as the lone running back. He will fake the handoff. He'll keep it himself, runs up the middle. Right there at the yard marker, it's going to depend on the spot, and I think they are going to give him just enough for the first down. So a nice, hard run there by the quarterback, Jaden Clayton, to pick up the first down on 3rd and 5.
Yeah, great again by the Skeeters. That was probably their best run game by a player not named Clayton as far as rushing the ball. Matt, keep an eye on the clock. We got about 4 minutes left. I'm interested if the Skeeters kind of pick up their tempo here and see what they do.
Yeah, we'll see if they decide to. They've kind of gone the opposite direction for a majority of the game as far as just taking it slow, letting time come off the clock. But see if they change the approach here. We'll give you some scores from around the area in just a moment. When we can, we have some district scores for you to update you on, and looks like we're going to get a stoppage in play here. I don't know if this
delay game.
A delay of game. Man, just when the Skeeters kind of looked like they were in a rhythm.
Too much time.
Yeah, those kind of penalties just really cost you, and 5 yards doesn't seem like a lot, but sometimes it's feels like 20.
Yeah, that's what I was just telling you, right? It feels like the Skeeters are being very, very meticulous and slow.
1st and 15, the ball at the 30-yard line. Clayton's in the shotgun. He's got a running back to his left and to his right. He fakes the handoff and will roll out to his right. Looking downfield, he finds him. Now he delivered a nice ball to Darryl Collins, but it was incomplete. We do have a flag on the play, and I think it's going to be holding against the Skeeters. So the delay of game backed them up 5. I think this is going to back them up 10 more.
Yeah, holding on the edge. And it's going to back them up another 10.
And so what was 1st and 10 is now going to be 1st and 25. And the Skeeters really had to have a nice, clean drive here if they were going to tie this up, and certainly have made that all the more difficult. 1st and 25. We do have those scores, though. Waxahachie and DeSoto are all tied up at 7, so that's a district game we'll keep our eye on here. And then Skyline and Duncanville playing. Duncanville winning that contest 13-0 right now. Clayton just throws a quick pitch to the left side. That's number 7, Jerome Brodus, who catches that.
Again, I go back to it, but it's a great play design. If you're struggling to run the ball, let's get the ball out to the receivers as fast as we can. Let them go get 4 or 5 yards. So it's just an extension of the run play. It's really what it is, Matt.
And so now it is 2nd and 19. That was a pickup of 6 by Brodus. And if I'm the Skeeters, I'm thinking maybe we take a shot downfield here and see if we can set up a 3rd and manageable. Clayton's in the shotgun. He drops back. He does throw the ball deep. He has a man open. It's picked off. It's picked off by the Jags. Running to the 30, still on his feet to the 20. Will step out of bounds at the 18-yard line. That's number 6 for the Jags, Malachi Youngblood. Man, talk about the game he's having tonight. Phil, if you remember the opening kickoff, it was Youngblood that returned it for about a gain of 60. And that time, Youngblood kind of just watching the eyes of the quarterback, and as soon as the ball was delivered by Clayton, he drifts to that direction and makes the big interception there.
Yeah, that was just a huge play for Malachi. I mean, like you said, he's in his back pedal, reading Clayton's eyes, and he jumps on that route, makes a big play. He's a playmaker for them.
And I don't think that Clayton ever even saw him. I think he was, kind of just hiding back there, just waiting for Clayton to deliver that ball, and Youngblood comes up with a huge play. The Jags now have the ball at the 18-yard line. They'll hand the ball off up the middle. That's to number 5, Cameron Williams, who picks up a couple on the first down play. It'll be 2nd and 8 for the Jags. The Jags have a lead over the Skeeters, 14-7, here with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half. And the Jags kind of will take their time. I think they'll just try to take as much time off the clock as possible, see if they can finish it off with points. Here's Ware in the shotgun, fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, goes up the middle, bounces out to the right, and a nice open field tackle by the Skeeter defense. That's number 1, Haven Garrett.
Yeah, Haven Garrett, he's kind of their big playmaker. Him and Needham are kind of the leaders of the defense for the Skeeters. So everything that happens great defensively, you usually see those two kind of being the two bright stars for the Skeeters.
It's a nice play by Haven Garrett there, the senior linebacker. It's not easy to bring down Ware out in the open field, but a good job of tracking him down in pursuit and making the tackle. And now I think we're going to get another timeout. Here, I'm not sure if it was the Skeeters or the Jags that called the timeout, but I think both teams, Phil, we'll just kind of stay here and talk about this moment. I think both teams sense how big of a play this is. If you're the Jags, you certainly want to, get a stop here and maybe, you want to convert this and see if you can, continue to take time off and maybe finish off with a touchdown. And if you're the Skeeters, you're thinking, hey, we got a chance here to make a stop and force a field goal, so a big play coming up.
Yeah, huge play. This is, 2 minutes left going into the break, and it's going to set the energy and the tone going into halftime. If the Skeeters can get a stop here, there's going to be a lot of energy flying into that locker room, and if Horn can score, there's going to be a lot of energy and positive vibes going to their locker room.
And so we'll see what coaching staff decides to do here. 3rd and 12 for the Jags coming up. Again, this is all set up after the interception by Malachi Youngblood. Go ahead.
Sorry, committed to Pittsburgh State University, by the way.
All right.
Or Gorilla.
All right.
That's what they are, the Gorillas.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the Jags decide to do here on 3rd and 12. They've come out in a formation, at least for right now. We've seen this before where they kind of were out wide and then they shifted and everybody came in a bunched formation. So we'll see what they decide to do. I would imagine they keep those trip receivers to the left on 3rd and 12.
Yeah, and keep an eye on Dante's scramble ability right here. It should be a pass play, and he should be able to scramble if need be.
Dante Ware will look to his left. He'll go to the corner of the end zone. He has a man open, but he overthrows number 11. That was Birch, and not only overthrows him, but a little bit too much outside. That would have taken quite the acrobatic catch there for Birch to come down, and it's going to likely bring out the field goal team for the Jags.
Yeah, Dante's got to step into that throw again. He gets caught on that back foot, wanting to almost kind of force himself to throw it up in the air off that back leg. If he can step into it, man, I promise good things will happen.
That was Kai Furch, and so now we're going to have a field goal attempt from the Jags. It's a 37-yarder that is up, and it is good. And that is a nice kick there by the Jags. That is number 19 for the Jags, Gonzalez. who nails that field goal attempt. And that is great execution by the special teams for the Jags as they extend their lead over the Skeeters 17-7. And, you know, in some ways, that feels like a win for the Skeeters too.
Yeah, it does, especially for the defense. Again, we talk about the field position that Horn was gifted on the interception, so they fully expected to score a touchdown. And for the Skeeters, it was bend, don't break, and giving up a field goal for them feels like a win. And not often do we see a legit field goal being made in high school football, Matt, and we actually saw it executed nicely by the Horn Jags.
I mean, I think that was a 37-yarder if my math is correct there. Ball was at the 20?
Yep.
Right,
yep.
There you go.
37. Yeah, really impressed because a lot of times at the high school level, you know, the snap's not clean, the tempo of the kicker wasn't very timed up correctly, and kudos to the Horn Jags for actually getting a legit field goal up.
I thought you were saying you were impressed by my math, but you're impressed by the...
No, I'm impressed that they got a field goal, yeah. You don't see that often, you know. Now, I mean, if you watch NFL, 57-yarders are chip shots now, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy where the leg strength and accuracy has gone for these kickers.
Yeah, it really is crazy how, you know, they just make it look so easy. So the Jags 17-7 over the Skeeters, just under 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Here's the kickoff from Gonzalez. It's deep. Will be fielded at the 10-yard line. Bring it out down the middle, still on his feet. That's number 8 for the Skeeters. Jacoby Johnson finally forced out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. Could have been a bigger play by that, but the Jags able to kind of use that sideline to their advantage and force Johnson out of bounds. And now the Skeeters, they don't have any timeouts left. Sorry, one timeout left. Under 2 minutes to go. Down 17-7. This would be a really great time to come out and execute that 2-minute offense that you know they practice a lot during the week.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they come out in that spread formation, but it looks like we're coming back into that Longview power eye look.
And that was Sheffield on the tackle for the Jags. Yeah, so it is the power eye look. Clayton will hand the ball off up the middle. And you wonder if that's kind of telling of how the Skeeters are going to approach the rest of this. If you thought maybe they'll be aggressive in the passing game, but that first play might tell you all you need to know, that they're just going to run this and see if they can go into the half and make some adjustments.
Yeah, man, I was almost tempted to say, hey, I think they're just going to run this clock out. Let's get to halftime, okay, make our adjustments, and then let's come back, brand new game feeling, coming out of halftime and see what we can do.
Clayton is in the shotgun again for the Skeeters. This time he has 2 running backs to his right. He's going to keep it himself, roll out to the right, across the 40, still on his feet to the 50, has one man to beat. Oh, that's an open field tackle there. That's number 6, Malachi Youngblood.
That changes things.
For the Jags, yeah, and that might change your approach here. And Phil, I'm just telling you, if Youngblood does not make that tackle there at the safety position, I really do think that Clayton's off to the end zone.
Well, it's funny. I was hoping Clayton would give him a little oopsie-doop and try to shake the guy, but Clayton went to run him over.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, he could have tried to do a little open field move, but instead says, all right, I'm going to make a statement here on this crosstown rivalry game, but I think that might have cost him. I mean, he really had one man to beat. If he gets past Youngblood there, you know, assuming the turf monster doesn't get him, he's off to the races, but instead, Youngblood makes the tackle.
Yeah. And it, you know what, it changes probably the dynamics of what the Skeers want to do right here, because it felt like they were trying to run it out. Hey, quarterback design run, power eye run. Let's just get to halftime and make our adjustments. But now you're on plus territory, Matt, and it's like, okay, you know, Clayton's got a strong enough arm, okay? Let's see what we can do right here in the passing game and see if we can go get a touchdown or a field goal going into halftime.
The Skeeters did just take their final timeout. So whatever they do here with just 46 seconds to go in the half, you know, it's got to be to the outside. It can't be any play really across the middle of the field, because that could certainly eat up a lot of clock. So they've got 45 yards to go. Clayton drops back, tries to set up a screen, and I think he saw a lot of Jags in the area where he was going to try to set up Jacoby Johnson, and I think he just decides to kind of throw that down. It would have been a loss of yardage if Johnson had caught that because there was going to be Jag players right there to make the stop. We'll see what the call is here.
Was it a legal man downfield? Was the
no, personal foul, hands to the face against the Skeeters.
Oh, that's huge.
So now you ask yourself, does that change your approach? I mean, the Skeeters just had excellent field position.
And now it's 1st and 25.
And now it's you're backed up now. You were at the 45. Now you're on the opposite 40.
And how many timeouts does Horn have?
Horn only has 2 timeouts right now. The Skeeters have 0.
Yeah. They're gonna run the ball is what I'm assuming.
I would assume that they'll do that or just take a knee and let this clock go down. But we'll see what they decide to do. Clayton's in the shotgun. He fakes the handoff, keeps him to himself, bounce out to the right, across the 45 to the 50, down to about the 43 before he eventually is forced out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with 35 seconds to go.
He got a decent little chunk right there, Matt.
Yeah, and I think that's a defense where the Jags are like a little bit of a bend, don't break. We'll give you those yards, but we're not going to let anything get behind us.
Well, this is awkward, but does this change things? Because it's 2nd and manageable.
Yeah, I don't know. 2nd and 13. So the ball on the 48-yard line. Clayton has a running back to his right, 2 receivers to his right, 2 receivers to his left. He keeps it again to himself, crosses the 45. Eventually will step out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. And I guess they're kind of just slowly chipping away at this. Again, it was, 1st and 25?
Yeah, 1st and 25. Horn's kind of in their prevent defense, like you said, Matt.
Yeah.
Let's not give up a touchdown or anything over the top. And then Mesquite's saying, fine, you're going to play very soft and play the pass. We're just going to run with our quarterback and take 7 to 12 yards a play.
Well, and keep in mind, if it comes down to it, Clayton has the arm to easily, if it comes down to some kind of Hail Mary, he can easily throw it all the way to the end zone from where they're at. But here's Clayton who takes the 3rd down snap. He keeps it for himself up the middle. He'll pick up the 1st down. Needed to get to about the 36. He got to the 30.
And they're speeding up.
4, and all of a sudden, the Skeeters are already lined up. 20 seconds to go here in the first half. 18 seconds. The clock's still ticking. Here's the snap. Clayton takes it, looks to his left. He's going to take a shot downfield. That ball's incomplete. Pretty good coverage there by the cornerback for the Jags.
Not the worst thing that could happen. You stop the clock. You can reset and try to talk about, hey, what are we going to do here? We got one more play. Do we have our field goal unit ready for Ronald Vincente to get out there? So he's got a strong enough leg. He can kind of get one up there about 40.
I wouldn't be surprised here if I would think we'll see a quick pass to the outside to pick up just a couple of yards, and then maybe you set up for possibly a field goal attempt if you feel good about it, or you can easily take a shot downfield. So here's Clayton, looks to his right. He's got pressure. The Jags able to get there. Clayton escapes. He has a man wide open in the end zone, but the ball's underthrown. He had a man wide open in the end zone. Talk about a breakdown in coverage by the Jags. But the ball about 2 yards too short. We've seen Clayton throw the ball about 2 or 3 yards too long. And that time, I think he's just kind of throwing off his back foot.
Yeah, he was scrambling right back because he actually had a Jaguar defender in his face, and he kind of shook him off, and like you said, got caught in his back leg and threw it up there. I mean, the guy was wide.
Well, that was Jacoby Johnson for the Skeeters, who had found a way to get behind the secondary. And if Clayton knew that he had about a second more just to be able to collect his feet and deliver a ball, I mean, he has the arm strength. There's no question about that.
Yep.
But throwing off your back foot while you're scrambling, kind of throwing across your body, it's a little bit of a difficult throw to make. But man, a yard or two more, and Jacoby Johnson likely catches that ball
Yeah.
and makes this a close game. Only 4 seconds to go here in the first half. Again, the Jags have a lead 17-7 over the Skeeters.
Hail Mary coming, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm the Horn
Yeah.
Jaguars, I mean, I'm putting my guys on the goal line right now. Just go ahead and get back. And right now the Skeeters, right now, they got trips to the boundary side, so you can, I bet he's going to sprint out. Clayton's going to sprint out to that side and throw it up. Here they go. They're in a cover 3 look. 3 high safeties.
Got 3 receivers to the right, a single receiver to the left. Clayton drops back. He's looking to his right, steps up into the pocket. He's going to keep it himself. He crosses the 25, still on his feet to the 20, eventually brought down at the 15-yard line. And that is going to bring an end to the first half, looking to see if there's any penalties, because that's happened more times than not tonight. I do not see any. So that will officially end the first half. The Skeeters certainly had a chance there, but unable to capitalize, and it's the Jags heading into halftime with a 17-7 lead over the Skeeters on the Jags homecoming night. You're listening to KOM Football and Mesquite ISD, and our coverage will continue. All right, well, welcome back here to Memorial Stadium. Again, if you're just tuning in, halftime is about halfway over. The Mesquite band making its way off the field. The Horn Jags getting ready for their halftime performance. We did have a winner on that trivia question. Again, we asked, where did Cam Newton play his college ball before he transferred to Auburn? It was Theo Barnes who knew the answer to that. Theo lives in Mesquite, Texas. The answer, of course, Phil?
Blinn College.
Blinn College. Blinn College is where Cam Newton played. I believe he led them to the national championship at that level. Don't know if he won or not. I can't imagine him losing the national championship at that level.
An amazing college player.
Of course, went on to win at Auburn. So congratulations to Theo Barnes out of Mesquite, Texas, for knowing the answer to that trivia question tonight. A little bit of A&M Auburn connection.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And that gift card Theo won tonight is courtesy of Whataburger. It's a $25 gift card to Whataburger. So we appreciate you listening, Theo. We're looking forward to the second half. Hope you stay with us here. And, Phil, let's talk a little bit about just some stats from the first half.
Sure.
Pretty even in terms of first downs. Both teams kind of struggling. Only 8 first downs for Mesquite High School. And, this is kind of crazy to think about. Mesquite High School, 8 first downs. Horn, only 7.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game that it felt like each team offensively were pushing themselves back at times with, unforced errors with those, offsides, a false start, a personal foul. And so it was either they had a sustained drive or a drive where it was 1st and 25.
Absolutely. And so total yards of offense, Horn outgaining the Skeeters. Horn has 134, Mesquite High School 99. And so just a reminder, if you are calling in right now, unfortunately we've already given away the winner for the gift card. We appreciate you calling in. We appreciate you listening. We're just unable to give you a gift card because that has already been claimed, again, by Theo Barnes out of Mesquite, Texas. So when you look at the stats, again, very similar in first downs, 8-7. Mesquite has the advantage there. Very similar in rushing. Mesquite High School was 68 yards. Horn was 75. And then very close with penalties, okay? Mesquite High School, 55 yards in penalties. Horn was 60. Turnovers, 1 for Mesquite, 1 for Horn. So, I mean, you're talking about in almost every possible stat, very, very similar games played by both teams tonight. And that's kind of what you expected. It's a crosstown rivalry, and both teams looking for to get back in the win column and looking for their first, a district win. And so kind of thought it would be close for sure.
Yeah, and these kids, they've played against each other since Pee Wee, Matt. So it's going to be close. There's going to be some chirpiness. The game is going to come down to the wire. I can already feel it right now. I know it's 17-7, but I think the Skeeters are going to bounce back, make it close, and we'll see what happens at the end of the game.
And so when you look at the passing stats for Mesquite High School, Jaden Clayton, he's only 3 for 14, Phil. Which obviously is not, what he wanted, but his night could easily be 9 for 14, 10 for 14. He's had 6 or 7 passes that have either been through the hands of the receiver or just a little bit too far outside or ahead of the receiver. So those stats could easily look much better, with just a couple of plays going other ways.
Yeah, definitely give Clayton his flowers. Put a little asterisk by that 3 for 14 because there's been about 4 or 5 drops. I mean, he could easily have 200 yards and about 60 or 70% completion. He's played a solid game. He's actually been the best rushing attack for the Skeeters as well. They've kind of aborted the run with the running backs and letting Clayton kind of handle that duty.
Yeah, Clayton was 73 yards rushing right now, currently in that first half. And Dante Ware, who came into tonight's contest averaging about 125 yards rushing a game. The Skeeters did a nice job of kind of containing him for the most part. He only has 54 yards rushing. Of course, he does have 2 touchdowns for the Jags tonight, and that is where we sit with the Jags having a 17-7 lead over the Mesquite Skeeters. Again, it's homecoming night for the Jags, so they're putting on a good show. The band, the drill team, putting on a good show also at halftime for this crowd. So let's shift gears a little bit here, Phil, and let's talk some college football for a couple of minutes.
Oh, I love it. Let's do it.
So some big games coming up. You know, I don't really know that this is necessarily a big game as much as it's just a ranked game. USC and Illinois play tomorrow. And that's the 11 a.m. Kickoff on Fox. And so I'm not really overly interested in that, but, you know.
Yeah. Is Illinois, I know Illinois and Indiana played. Who was it that was really?
Indiana, I think, absolutely took it to
Illinois. But Illinois was ranked pretty high until the blowout.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got Riley over there, Lincoln Riley over at USC, trying to kind of get that program back to where you and I remembered when we were in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was the Reggie Bush,
Matt Liner,
Carson Palmer.
They were loaded.
It was like every year. It was USC and Miami.
Yeah, I mean, USC had some teams that you're like, could they hang with some pro teams? You know, I mean, they were really good. So another game I'm keeping my eye on. I'm not calling the upset by any means, but Ohio State travels to Washington.
Ooh.
I don't know that this is true, okay? Because I just don't. I'm a skeptic at heart, just to be honest with you, on a lot of things.
Sure.
When I hear these kind of stats, I'm like, I don't know. I heard that Washington hasn't lost a game in their stadium in like 4 years or something like that.
Dang, that's a long
That's a pretty good run. Again, I don't really believe it. But, you know, they did have a nice little run there with, who was there before? Was that DeBoer? There at Washington?
Yeah,
so, I mean,
DeBoer.
It's believable, right, considering what the success he had there. But I also have my doubts there. But we'll see. I might look into it, but I don't really care that much to do the research.
It's Big Ten.
Yeah,
we'll
who
move
cares?
on.
Yeah. Now let's talk about what we all care about, SEC football, right?
Yes, sir.
So Ole Miss versus LSU. That's a big one tomorrow on ABC, the 2:30 kickoff. Ole Miss currently ranked 13. LSU ranked number 4.
Yep.
I feel like LSU's kind of a quiet number 4 in the country. It doesn't feel like a lot of people are really talking about them at that level, but that'll be a good game to watch.
Yeah, LSU led by the QB Newsmeyer. He's having a so-so year. People are probably expecting more from him, but LSU's a lot of people's kind of dark horse national champion kind of feel to them, and they're just flying under the radar, doing what LSU does. But they've been, you know, LSU, when we talk about great football teams, they've been in the mix for the last 20 years.
Yeah, and Ole Miss is, you just never know. You know, I mean, that's a tough place to play. I've been there before. Pretty fun environment.
Oxford? Is that Oxford?
Yeah, Oxford. Yep. So we'll see if LSU can travel on the road and beat Ole Miss there at their stadium. You never know with Lane Kiffin, though. He kind of has a way to win those games sometimes. And then the game that I think we're most interested in tomorrow, Texas A&M, currently ranked number 9, is at home against Auburn.
Yep.
And so we'll see if the Aggies, coming off a bye week, coming off a big win at Notre Dame, we'll see if they can continue that momentum and go out and get a victory against Auburn.
We're not holding our breath, Matt. I mean, you know, Aggies in the past, they'll win a big game, and then they'll drop the game after, and then you go, wow.
Yep.
We just beat this team, and then you lose to them, and so it feels like it's Groundhog Day with the Aggies. It's just same thing, different year.
Absolutely. I always remind my friends that A&M season is always a roller coaster, and in order for there to be a roller coaster, you have to have a high point.
Yep.
And we had it on our road against Notre Dame, and now wouldn't be surprised if we see what happens on a roller coaster after the high point. All right, so another big game, Phil. Tomorrow, 6:30, okay? Number 6 Oregon travels to take on number 3 Penn State. That's a big game tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that. You know, when we think about the Oregon Ducks, Matt, you and I, again, we're about the same age. We remember Oregon being really good. Remember Chip Kelly?
Oh, yeah.
Had them rolling, and they were, like, ridiculous, the uniform changes, et cetera, et cetera. And then they kind of went through a lull for a little bit. But then the last couple of years, the Ducks are back, baby. And they are a team to be reckoned with.
Yep, absolutely. And then a big, big game. Man, this is going to be a good day of college football. I didn't really realize this until this moment, how many fun games there were tomorrow.
What you got?
Number 17 Alabama. That feels weird to say.
Yeah.
This is for them to be
that
high or low, however you want to look at it, right? Yeah. Number 17 Alabama. They travel to Athens to take on number 5 Georgia.
Oh, wow.
So that will be a fun game to watch. Has Alabama rebounded after that early struggle against Florida State, or is there still some, struggles on that team that Georgia will expose tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm a true believer that a head coach, especially in football, can set the standard and the culture and all those things, those buzzwords that go with it. But I really believe it. And when you lose a coach like Nick Saban, you see where Alabama is now, and they're kind of in what I just said, a lull, kind of like moving toward the wrong direction. Florida State's back up. Maybe Texas is kind of back up. OU's been down, last couple of years. So, in college football, it's all about cycles and going in and out of these cycles. Miami, you remember Miami when we were growing up? They were a team to be reckoned with, and then after that, what happened?
Right.
And now they're back. So Florida Gators are down.
Yep.
And so I think that's why we love college football, because there's a storyline every year, and history repeats itself, and teams go up and down, and that's the joy and why we love it.
Have you looked at Florida's schedule this year?
It's ridiculously hard.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's the hardest schedule in the nation.
I think it's the hardest schedule that's ever been invented, put together anywhere at any moment in any sport. I mean, it is crazy how tough their schedule is. Of course, Phil, we didn't really talk about this game, but it's the most important game to me. My daughter plays soccer tomorrow from 1:45 to 2:45. So she's looking there. They won their game last week. They're 1-0. They're looking to continue their undefeated season.
How old is she?
She is 6 years old.
Oh, so I'm loving it.
And she's actually playing up.
Good.
She's actually playing against – she's in first grade, and she's actually playing against second and third graders. And so, it's challenging her, but it'll make her better in the long run.
Well, listen, I remember the athlete you were at Horn and a soccer player, and you played football, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah.
You're a great athlete, so I know the athlete and competitor I bet you're on the sideline gripping the chair, screaming.
I have been known to be fairly competitive out there. And my wife, Courtney, she's athletic, but she is not competitive.
Yeah.
Which, to me, that doesn't compute. I'm like, if you're athletic, let's be competitive about it.
Yeah.
And I kind of had dreams of, like, early on when we were both, like, super, like, we were younger. We didn't have kids yet. I was like, man, we're going to play, like, 2-on-2 volleyball together, and we're going to get into it. And she was just not interested in it. Yeah. She's a great volleyball player. She just could not care less about competing.
Yeah, my wife's a heck of an athlete, too. But, again, it goes back to the competition part. I don't think she really cares anymore. It's like, nah, I lost. Who cares? And, I'm seething. I'm like, no, I want to keep going until I win. And whatever I do.
Yeah, I've been known to cross a line or two in my competitive nature, for sure. I remember me and one of my friends in college, we didn't talk for like 2 weeks because of I thought he touched the net in volleyball, and I thought he lied about it, and I didn't talk to him for 2 weeks. So I have some stuff to work through, certainly, in that area of my life. Well, we're going to step away for just a moment here as the band continues to play. Horns band doing a nice job out there at halftime. We've got about 2 minutes to go before we get ready for the second half. And our coverage of KEO to Memorial Stadium. Matt Kane alongside Phil Elia and Patrick Ross back at Master Control, making all of this happen tonight. The Jags have a 17-7 lead over the Skeeters. And we were kind of going through the stats at halftime, Phil, and, you know, in a lot of ways it feels like this game could easily be tied when you look at a lot of the stats, but it's the Jags that have been able to establish a 10-point lead. And really, when you think about the way this game started, you know, the Jags had a massive kickoff return to start off the game, and before you really had time to look up, it was 14-0 Jags.
Yeah, and we at that point we're thinking, okay, are the Jags going to run away with this?
Yeah. And the Skeeters do a nice job to kind of calm down. You know, their defense gets a big stop on 4th and 2 at the, 6-yard line or so early in the game, and that was a big moment, and you could kind of feel like the Skeeters were trying to find something, and they go on that long drive, able to finally put some points on the board. And then the Jags able to get that 37-yard field goal from Dave Vicente. That was a nice little execution on special teams there. That was a long kick there that they were able to convert. And for the Jags, you know, we mentioned they come into tonight's contest. I believe they were averaging, I think it was 270 yards rushing a game or something like that. And so far, they have only been able to put up 75 yards rushing in that first half. So give a lot of credit to the Skeeter defense.
Yeah, great job by actually both defenses really taking away the run game. And they're eerily similar, Matt. Like when you and I were sitting there just talking stats, it's just really similar. The run games have been kind of stuck in a rut. And really, it's the pass game and the quarterback scrambles and the quarterback rushing game has really elevated both teams to where they're at now.
Yeah, and I would say that, you know, if I was looking at that first half and had to identify a player of the game for each, you know, or player of the half, I guess I should say, for each team, you know, Malachi Youngblood for Horn.
The safety.
He had the kickoff return to start the game. Didn't go for a touchdown, but it was about a 60-yard return. He had an interception.
Yep.
And then, you know, he also has made some really nice plays on defense just in general. Some open field tackles. But, yeah, the interception was a big one. And then for Mesquite, I think it's got to be the quarterback.
I think it's Clayton.
You know, Clayton.
Yeah, those are my two.
Yeah, I think he's done a nice job of making good decisions. And again, he's only 3 for 14, but so close to being 9 for 14 if a couple of those passes are just either caught by the receivers or, you know, 2 or 3 yards closer to the intended target. So here we are. We're getting the kickoff started in the second half. It's the Jags kicking off to Mesquite. They'll take it out to the 11, try to get to the outside, and then they try to get there. That's number 4, Krishawn Waters on the return, trying to get to the edge, but a really nice job in pursuit by the Jag kickoff team. And Phil, what would you say was the most common thing I said in the first half? What do you think?
Was it field position?
Well, maybe that, or there's a penalty on the play.
Penalty, yeah. There have been hankies on the floor.
And these teams waste no time in the second half to give me an opportunity to say that.
Yeah.
As on the kickoff, we have another penalty.
8 seconds in.
So we'll wait and see what the call is. We do have an injured Skeeter down on the opposite side of the field. It looks like they're helping him up to his feet. So that's a good sign.
I believe that's Krishawn Waters, number 4 for the Skeeters.
It looks like it's going to go against the Skeeters because they are backing this ball all the way to the 6-yard line, 7-yard line. And so not entirely sure what the call was. I don't know that we ever really saw one.
I think it was block in the back.
Okay, block in the back. Thank you, Phil.
Yep.
And so now, you know, we've said this a lot.
Field position.
Yeah, field position. The Skeeters have been backed up more often than not tonight. Clayton's in the shotgun, looks to his left. He throws the ball that's caught. It'll be a short gain out to the left. Targets out there, again, on the opposite side of the field. A little tough to get a number on that. I think it's number 7. Brodus for the Skeeters. That's Okafor on the tackle for the Jags. And that's just a gain of of 1 on that little short place, almost a little bit of an extension of the run game.
Yeah, Matt, we talk about coaches make adjustments at halftime, and I guarantee right now, Horn's saying, okay, Skeeters can't run the ball. They've just been working that quick game to the receivers as an extension of the run game. Let's stop it.
So it'll be 2nd and 9 for the Skeeters. That'll be a quarterback keeper by Clayton. He'll pick up a good chunk of yards there on 2nd down. Let's pause for a second for some station identification. So after that quarterback keep by Clayton, it'll be 3rd and 6, and this certainly feels like a big play. You know, not there's still a lot of time left in the game, obviously. The second half just getting started, but it really feels like the Skeeters needed to come out here on this opening drive and really establish a ground game and put together a couple of plays and put some points on the board. Here's Clayton in the shotgun, looks to his left, has a man wide open, but he overthrows the intended target. That ball meant for Jerome Brodus, but again, Phil, another example of the ball just being a little bit too high.
Yeah, Clayton's made some good throws tonight. That one was not one of his good throws. Brodus actually ran a really good route, was open for the first down.
Yeah, Brodus, a little stop route there, kind of faked the go route and then, you know, dipped his hips, came back to the ball, and the ball was delivered on time. Would have been a first down, but again, just over the head of the intended target. Now the Skeeters punting from their own end zone. Here's the punt. It's an end over end kick. The Horn's just going to let die, take a bounce. And it landed at about the 35 and then bounced for another 12 yards or so. And eventually we'll be down at right there at the 48-yard line. And so, you know, we've kind of talked about this, Phil. The Skeeters have really struggled in where they've started their drives, and Horn has been set up pretty nicely in that aspect of the game.
Yeah, I would say Horn's on maybe their 4th series where they start in plus territory, which that's an offensive coordinator's dream, right? Right now, Horn could take a shot right now just because they're already in plus territory. So the playbook for Horn is wide open.
Again, Horn only 134 yards of total offense in that first half. And, you know, they're used to 274 yards rushing just by itself. So Skeeters did a nice job in the first half of really containing a good Horn offense. Here's the snap. The quarterback took it in the shotgun. That's a handoff. The receiver, that's number 7, I believe, Kamara, who they brought in motion, and a little bit of a pitch forward, kind of just, you know, count as a pass. And Kamara does a nice job of getting to the edge, and a big gain there on first down. The Jags' first play of the second half goes for about 30 yards.
Love seeing the creative way that Mesquite and Horn have, you know, yielded to because of their lack of run game. And so they're finding ways to extend the run game through other ways.
That's an excellent point, Phil. Here's Ware in the shotgun. He fakes the handoff, looks to his left, pump fakes, throws the ball to the end zone, has a man open. It's Birch. That there's contact. That ball fell incomplete, but give a lot of credit to Ware for go ahead and taking a shot to the end zone and seeing, hey, either my guy's going to catch it, maybe we get a pass interference, and it looks like the Jags are indeed going to get that call after that attempt to Birch in the end zone. So there is the call from the officials. It'll be pass interference against the Skeeters, and that's going to move the ball 15 yards down the field, and now the Jags will have first and goal from the 7-yard line.
Yeah, great job by Dante Ware. A little pump and go, right? Man, gave a little pump, tried to throw off the DBs and the safety, and threw the ball up for to Furch, and Furch did a good job of coming back to it and pass interference.
So here's the handoff up the middle. That's to number 5. That's Cameron Williams, the running back for the Jags. But really nothing there. And, you know, we saw Horn, they had a little bit of success early in the night going to that up-the-middle ground game, but for the most part, the Skeeter defense has done a nice job of stopping that attack.
Yeah, but really both defenses have stopped both running backs, and they're all finding different ways to run the ball, and it's not up the middle anymore.
Second and goal from the 9. The Jags have a 17-7 lead over the Skeeters. Here's Ware in the shotgun. He'll fake the handoff. He'll throw to a wide open receiver to the right in the flats, but it's incomplete. That ball thrown at the feet of Kamara, and that's one that Ware's going to wish he had back.
Yeah, that was actually a great play design by the Horn Jags. Really kind of meshed with the running back. They didn't give him the ball. Running back kept his route going. He actually was wide open. That's probably a play that they saved to get him walking into the touchdown, and just poor execution.
Yeah, if Ware had been able to deliver that ball in a catchable way to Kamara, definitely think you're looking at more points being added to the board by the Jags. So instead, it's 3rd and 9. They'll bring Kamara in motion. Ware will roll out to his right, look to throw back to his left. He does do that. Has a man wide open in the end zone. That's caught by number 9, C.J. Jones, the 6'3", 225-pound tight end. I love the play design there by the Jags.
Yeah, it looked like Dante Ware was scrambling one way and then came back to the other side on a pass play. So it was a really good job of making the Skeeter defense kind of flow one direction, Matt, and then looking to the backside for an easy pitch and catch.
Yeah, and I really love that because worst case scenario, if the play's not there for the receiver, you have Dante Ware who can easily just keep it himself. But I love the idea to get the defense drifting and come back the other way. C.J. Jones with a nice concentration to make the catch. Here's the extra point attempt. The snap is back. The hold is down. The kick is up, and it's good. And that extends the Jags lead over the Skeeters now 24-7 here on homecoming night. The Jags putting on a good show for the crowd. Our coverage of Mesquite ISD football will continue after this. Back here at Memorial Stadium where the Jags have extended their lead over the Skeeters 24-7 after that touchdown pass from Dante Ware to C.J. Jones, the tight end for the Jags. And now the kickoff here, it'll be deep, it'll be high, it'll be caught at the 5-yard line by the Skeeters. They'll bring it out to the left side. That is number 8 for Mesquite, Jacoby Johnson. Nice return there. And after the first score of the second half, we always like to do a little giveaway. We've already done 2 tonight, one in the first half, one at halftime. This time is to the cell place. So after the first score the first score after the third quarter has started, we do a giveaway. This time there's no question. It's just the first caller to call in will win the $25 gift card to the cell place. The number 972-882-7768. Again, be the first caller to get that $25 Windsor gift card or Cell Place gift card. 972-882-7768 is the number to call. Mesquite back on the field for offense, and it looks like we have a change in quarterback. This time it is number 11 for the Skeeters, now in at quarterback. That's Damon Babineau, I believe.
Yep, Babineau.
Babineau. I wanted to make sure I pronounced that correct. Thank you, Phil. So Babineau now in at quarterback. He's the junior for a majority of the night tonight. It's been the senior, Jaden Clayton. But Babineau now getting his shot to run the offense for the Skeeters, and that's a good first play for him, the quarterback keeper. He's in the shotgun. He fakes the handoff. No, he actually does indeed give the ball to the running back for the Skeeters. That's number 3, Darrell Collins, who picks up about 2 or 3 on the play.
Yeah, what you're going to see with Damon Babineau, Matt, is he's much more of the runner-type quarterback. He's got a great set of wheels. Just like on that first play, he ran a power read quarterback play, design run for him up the middle, and he executed it to perfection. And now you're going to see a lot of the read game and the RPO game.
So Babineau, the junior, getting his first couple of looks on the night. He has 2 receivers to his left, a single receiver to his right, and Not sure. They're going to get a false start called against the offensive line for the Skeeters. Man, so many penalties tonight for both teams have really hurt their offenses. You know, putting themselves sometimes in as much as 1st and 25.
Yeah, it's been a killer for both sides tonight. Those false starts and delay games, they can really catch up to you, Matt.
So now it's going to be 2nd and 13 after the false start penalty. Just under 8 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Babineau looks to pitch it. The ball comes out. It's on the ground. It's bouncing, and I believe the Skeeters were able to recover that. I'm not sure how that ball came out. Babineau was going to pitch. I think he tried to decide to pull it back at the last moment, and in that confusion, the ball kind of just went flying out of his hands, and it was backwards.
Yeah.
So that was a live ball.
Yeah, that was a designed, what I call new school triple option, Matt, where he's meshing it, he pulls it, and then he was about to run speed option, and unfortunately, the turf monster got him, and as he was falling, the ball kind of just squirted out on its own.
So we do have a winner there for that Cell Place gift card. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Here's Babineau, looks to his right, comes back to his left, has a man wide open. That's number 4, Krishawn Waters for the Skeeters. He makes the catch and then tries to get what he can. Again, it was 3rd and 17. Got about, 7 or 8 on that. We'll call it 6, actually, when it's all said and done. Not enough for the first down. So let's go ahead and recognize Alan Everett, our winner there. Thank you for calling in and winning that $25 gift card to the Cell Place. Alan Everett out of Mesquite, Texas, actually a North Mesquite High School graduate of 1978. So we appreciate you calling in and appreciate you listening, Alan. And here's the punt for the Skeeters that is fielded by the Jags right there at the 40-yard line. So, man, it's just so encouraging, Phil, to hear people listening. It's a North Mesquite graduate listening to the Mesquite versus Horn game, and I think that just speaks to the pride that we all have in this city, and just everyone's kind of invested in the city of Mesquite. And, my mom and dad graduated from North Mesquite also. I'm not sure the year. I don't know that they want me to say that out loud. I'll just say they graduated. My dad, a quarterback for North Mesquite.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So, and of course, my whole family also grew up in Mesquite, taught in Mesquite.
Yep.
Cousin still works for Mesquite, so we're Mesquite through and through.
Yeah, I love to hear that, man. I mean, there's so much pride in this city.
Yeah.
Rodeo City of USA still, right?
There you go.
The rodeo capital.
So the Jags will start with the ball here. Just a little over 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Jags up 24-7 over the Skeeters. We'll see if we can get some scores from around the area for you tonight to talk about in a moment. Here's a play for the Jags. It's a nice play. That's number 7 for the Jags. Abu Kamara able to get to the outside and pick up a nice gain on first down.
Again, a great play design. If the run game is suffering, what can we do to get those short yardages? And they ran that little toss again, to the jet sweep from Kamara, and Kamara, the speedster, making a play to the sideline.
We'll try to get us update on the West Mesquite game going on tonight
against W.T. White. That's a good one.
Against W.T. White. Here's the handoff up the middle to Cameron Williams, the running back for the Jags. And again, that's just been a play that has been quite a struggle for the Jags tonight. Just nothing really there, and give a lot of credit to the interior defensive line for the Skeeters, keeping that from really going anywhere.
Yeah, I got an update for the West Mesquite against W.T. White right down the road at Hamby Stadium. West Mesquite Wranglers winning 52-0.
52-0. There you go, man. West Mesquite, that's a good football program. I've seen them a couple of times this year.
Yep.
Can score a lot of points, and they play really good defense. Here's Ware in the shotgun. A quick throw out to the left. That's a nice catch by Kamara. He's out to the 40, crosses the 35 out there on the left side of the field. That ball had some zip on it.
Yeah, it did. The more I watch the Jaguars, the more I realize how important Kamara is on their offense, man. He's kind of jack of all trades.
That was LeBaron Walker on the tackle for the Skeeters. Nice job by Kamara to catch that ball and then get some nice yards after the catch. picks up the first down, and now Dante Ware back in the shotgun position for the Jags. He'll look to his left, roll out to his right. Has a man in the open in the end zone, overthrows Birch by just a couple of yards. He had Birch kind of running a post route, had got behind 2 defenders, but that ball thrown yard or two too far out of the reach of Birch.
He actually had number 9 wide open, C.J. Jones, if he's running kind of a drag over the top, and nobody was within a yard of him.
And that was actually Furch for the Jags, beg your pardon. And he had that big catch earlier in the game that got called back because of the holding penalty, so that was another chance at a big play for him. So it'll be 2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass. Ware will keep it for himself, rolling out to his right, trying to get to the edge. A good job in pursuit by the Skeeter defense, not allowing Ware to get to the outside. I believe that was Dakari Spencer, the senior linebacker for the Skeeters, able to make that tackle out in open space.
Yeah, they've been running that play a handful of times tonight, Matt. It's kind of a QB sweep design run for Ware to kind of get to the edge. Skeeters did a great job of kind of taking care of it and not letting it bust open for a touchdown.
And I like the idea there, Phil, on 2nd and 10. You know, let's let Ware keep the ball, get what he can on 2nd down, and set up a 3rd and manageable.
Yep.
The Skeeters do a good job of not letting him get those extra yards. It's 3rd and 6. Ware's in the shotgun, looks to his left, nothing there, steps up in the pocket, scrambling at the 35, and the Skeeters are there to meet him and knock him back a yard. It's officially where he will be stopped right there at about the 28-yard line, sorry. And so that's going to be short of the first down. 4th and 4, but kind of in that spot in the field where you kind of knew all along you were really going to be in 4-down territory.
Yep, for sure, Matt. What are you thinking right here, Matt? What's the play call?
I mean, I think that I wouldn't be shocked at all to see us try to go to Ware, you know, in the open, let him scramble, but we'll see what the Jags decide to do. They have 2 receivers to the left, to the right, no one in the backfield. It's a quick throw out to the right. That the ball is caught at the 20, still on his feet at the 10, all the way to the 5, and through the goal line into the end zone. Touchdown. On the quick throw from Dante Ware to Kamara, and Kamara navigating through traffic, breaking off a couple of tackles, able to cross the goal line into the end zone, as the Jags have extended their lead over the Skeeters 30-7.
Yeah, and I just spoke about how Kamara is so important to them, Matt. He actually reminds me of Kamara in the NFL, kind of a guy that can do everything. You can line him up in the slot. He's a guy that gets a lot of that jet sweep stuff, so he's kind of a running back as well. He's done it all tonight for them, and he's a big part of their offense.
And that pass from Ware, when you're going to throw those kind of out routes, it's all about timing and hitting the receiver in stride to where they can catch it and get upfield. And that's exactly what Ware was able to do. Here's the extra point attempt. The kick is up, and it is good. And the Jags now have extended their lead on homecoming night. They lead the Skeeters 31-7 here with just over 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Our coverage of Mesquite ISD football will continue in a moment.
Mesquite was in man coverage, and the safety
Back to Memorial Stadium, Matt Cain alongside Phil Elia. And on homecoming night, the Jags are rewarding the crowd that has come out and putting on a good show here, 31-7. It was 17-7 coming out of the half. And in this third quarter, the Jags have put up 14 points and held the Skeeters to 0. So really good halftime adjustments coming to life here in the third quarter. Again, we have a new quarterback in for the Skeeters. It's Babineau. It's been Clayton for a majority of the night. But now the junior Babineau getting his shot. And, you know, we saw earlier, Phil, they really used him kind of as a quarterback keep primarily. You know, kind of fake the handoff, keep it up the middle. And they had some success. So I would imagine that's what we're going to see, you know, from Babineau for a majority of the remaining of the game.
Yeah, he's definitely your running type quarterback. So a lot of, like we talked about, a lot of read and RPOs coming from Babineau.
Here's Babineau. They have a free play here. They got the Jags to jump offside, so they take a deep shot down the field. Babineau trying to connect with Waters, but that's good coverage by the Jags. And again, free play after the Jags jump into the neutral zone. So why not take a shot down the field? Unfortunately, the Skeeters unable to connect on that, but they will get the free 5 yards to set up 3rd and 1, I believe. Now, are they going to give them the first down?
Looks like they're moving the chains.
Yeah,
they're moving the chains.
Just enough for the first down. And that's always a gamble, Phil, you know, because if you can get the Jags to jump off sides, great, right? But if your team makes the mistake, and now you're looking at 3rd and long. So a good job by the offensive line for the Skeeters. Stay disciplined, right? Get the Jags to jump off sides, and now you get a fresh set of downs, even though the marker over there says 4th down. It's not. So 1st and 10, they hand the ball off up the middle. That's to number 2, Needham. Haven't really called his name much tonight.
Yeah, he's the starting Mike linebacker for the Skeeters, so he does play 2 ways. They will occasionally put him back there in the backfield like we see right now.
And that's a good pickup on 1st down. You know, I mean, you can win a lot of football games by gaining 5-6 yards on first down, and that time the Skeeters able to get 5. It's 2nd and 5. Again, Babineau under center. He hands the ball off. This time to number 1. That's Garrett. And the Jags do a much better job that time on defense, making the tackle and forcing the Skeeters backwards.
Yeah, Haven Garrett, another 2-way player for the Skeeters. He's a starting outside backer / end for the Skeeters, and will occasionally go to the backfield and play running back. And, you know, the Skeeters are at the point where they've got a lot of 2-way players, and we're seeing it become more and more common.
And so it'll be 3rd and 7 for the Skeeters. About 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Again, the Jags have a 31-7 lead over the Skeeters. Babineau takes the snap. He doesn't field it clearly. This Horn picks it up for a scoop and score. They pick it up at the 10. And they take it the rest of the way. That's number 33 for the Jags. Baez, the 6'3", 205-pound defensive lineman. If you had Baez on your bingo card for a scoop and score touchdown, congratulations. Mark it off. Wasn't a bad snap.
No, hit Babineau right in the hands.
Yeah, hit Babineau right in the hands. Just didn't field it cleanly.
It looked like one of those he was trying to make the play before he actually catched it first, Matt, and started bobbling it. And next thing you know, the ball's on the turf, and foreign defender scoop and score.
So Horn has looked really good tonight, Phil, in really all 3 phases of the game. You know, their special teams has been good. They had a good kickoff return, had a 37-yard field goal. Offense obviously has looked good, and that time they added defensive score to their stat sheet. Here's the extra point. The kick is up, and it is good. And with that extra point conversion, the Jags have extended their lead 38-7 over the Skeeters. Again, putting on quite the show, looking good in all 3 phases of the game. And our coverage of Mesquite ISD football Stadium, Matt Kane alongside Phil Elia, Patrick Ross back at Master Control, making the whole night happen. Always doing a nice job. Gil Thorne right next to me in the booth, running the show, making us better. We appreciate you, Gil. And Gil, you're probably familiar, Gil, the voice of the morning show on KEOM, and does a nice job in all of your drives to work. You get to listen to Gil. I had the chance last year during the solar eclipse to come in and talk to Gil about that event leading up, and that was a lot of fun. Copeland in there with him also, so it's always nice to, some of you got to start your day with Gil, and I get to end my day with him, so appreciate all you do. And Patrick, thanks to you back at the studio. And Phil, most people are listening to Ryan Castle or Steve Glenn on these nights, and a little bit of a change up tonight with me and you in the booth, so we're appreciative of the opportunity tonight. And
so appreciative.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a good game. 13 seconds to go here in the third quarter. The Jags leading the Skeeters 38-7. Now we do have Clayton back in at the quarterback position for the Skeeters. It had been Babineau, but after that bobbled, snap, I wonder if coaching staff said, hey, let's go back to the senior quarterback in Clayton.
Yeah, man, I think that's what's exactly happened, right? Babineau, and let's remember Babineau on the design quarterback run, he slipped and threw the ball in the air up, and, the Skeeters did recover it, but that's twice now. So it's like, hey, at what point do you think, hey, we got to just get Clayton back in there? I did talk about it at the beginning of the game that, hey, they do play two quarterbacks, and one was getting the first half, one was getting the second half, and now it's, hey, let's go back to the senior. It's 38-7. Babineau's, he's struggling, so let's get Clayton back there and let's see what we can do for these next 12 minutes.
And, when you look back at this game, I think the Skeeters, there's still football to be played, certainly, but 31 points in the fourth quarter is a lot to ask to get back into a game. But I think they're going to look back on this night, Phil, and think if in that first quarter or second quarter, if we had just connected on a couple of those pass plays that went through the hands of the receiver, or, had some balls that were maybe, a couple of inches too high for the receiver to get it. Those are plays that if you connect on those, this is a completely different ball game from the beginning. And unfortunately, the Skeeters just struggled early on, and the Jags have really capitalized off some mistakes too. Of course, the Skeeters right now, they have 9 penalties for 82 yards.
You beat me to that point. I was going to tell you, I think the Skeeters' worst enemy is right now is the Skeeters, and it's actually Coach Thomas's mantra is us versus us, and we have another bobbled snap.
Yeah, good job by Clayton just to kind of pick that up and continue to run and try to get what he can. It was second and about 6, and if Clayton doesn't field that snap cleanly and pick up what he can, you're looking at, what, 3rd and 13 or something like that.
Yep.
And he picks up what he can. I think he actually, still ended up losing 2 yards there. So it's going to be 3rd and 8 for the Skeeters. But to your point, Phil, I'll let you continue on. They've really kind of hurt themselves tonight in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Coach Thomas is first year here at Mesquite. He's done a lot of cultural things, a lot of great things. And one of his mantras, his big mantra is us versus us. And tonight he'll be able to say, hey, dude, it was us versus us. It wasn't anything that Horn did that was special to get to 38-7 right now. We know there's a lot of ball game left, but the Skeeters have shot themselves in the foot more times than not with penalties that or backing them up to their own end zone, and 1st and 25 or 1st and 20 or 1st and 15. Those are situations that you don't want to put yourself in as a football team, and the Skeeters unfortunately have, and I've seen that way too many times tonight.
Absolutely, and so now we actually have a penalty that will advance the ball forward for the Skeeters, make it a much more manageable 2nd and 1 for the Skeeters. Clayton in the shotgun. He takes the snap, hands the ball off. That's number 2, Needham. Needham, we didn't call his name much in the first half, called it some in the third, and really some of their most successful runs tonight have been when they've just kind of handed the ball off to Needham and let him go to work.
Yeah, Needham's a big boy. He's about a 5'10", 5'11", probably a solid 200 pounds, running back / linebacker. He really runs downhill with some power.
We've mentioned a couple of names tonight, but some of the names we have not talked about yet that are up here with us, we have some student interns. Yeah. So we have a KEOM program in our district, and We have advanced broadcast journalism, and kids can take that at all levels. And some of the interns tonight, Ty Smith and Nora Fosio up here tonight, kind of helping us, giving us scores from around the area. And I think it's just a really cool opportunity for our students to kind of see some of behind-the-scenes stuff that happens on a broadcast. And then, of course, the instruction that they get from Miss Hill, our broadcast instructor over there at KOM on a day-to-day basis, is really what makes them successful and keeps them continuing on in the program. She does a great job over there. As you know, I'm the director of secondary education for our district, and so I know the work that Miss Hill does, and proud of the way that she loves and supports our students, and just a really cool opportunity for our student interns. Appreciate y'all helping us run the show tonight. Here's a run from the Skeeters on 1st and 15. It's just straight up the middle. Again, that's to Needham. And he picks up a good chunk of yards there. Man, I wonder if the Skeeters are going to watch film, Phil, and wish they had gone to Needham early on.
Yeah, he's a two-way player, so Matt, I think they struggle with, playing him every down, every snap, because he is the primary starting linebacker. I know running back's kind of a supplemental role for you, but like you said right now, watching him, he's doing a great job at running back for him.
Absolutely. They'll pitch it. No, they'll fake the pitch out to Needham, and this time it'll be Clayton on the keeper. And I think that was a really good decision there, Phil, by Clayton not to pitch that ball. You could tell he originally wanted to.
Yeah.
Maybe saw a couple of red jerseys in there and thought, I'll just keep this to myself and pick up what I can.
Yeah, when in doubt, when you're running some type of speed option toss play that's going on to the sideline, hey, if there's too many red jerseys around, tuck that ball in and just fall for another 3-4 yards, and that's what he did.
So that's going to bring up 3rd and 7 for the Skeeters with just under 9.5 to go here in the game. Clayton will look back to the sideline to get the play call from the coaching staff. Needham is to his right. He has a single receiver to the right, another one to the left. He'll just keep it himself, get to the outside, pick up what he can. Able to get 3 or 4 on the 3rd down keeper by Clayton. Going to be 4th and 4.
You got to go for it, right?
I think you have to go for it, but it looks like the Skeeters,
they're going to punt.
They're going to bring out the punt team.
Okay.
Well, I believe that's what they're going to do. I don't see a punter yet. There he is.
Well, they're lined up funky right here. Let's see if there's any trickeration right here.
All right, looks like they'll just shift to normal punt formation. So we'll see if the Skeeters can get a good punt off here. It's a high punt, end over end. It will be fielded by the Jags at the 30.
You know what we haven't done in a while, Matt? Thinking about this is, when I coached football, we used to rugby punt a lot, where the punter would actually catch the ball, and then he would kind of sprint out to one side, delaying the kick, until he had a chance to kind of kick it off. And it was amazing because you would get like a 30 to 40-yard bounce and roll. And so it was very effective, but we don't really see it anymore. Football is a game of trends.
Right.
And it's definitely a trend that kind of left already.
Yeah, you're right. You don't really see that anymore in college football or
high school.
Yeah, or high school. So, yeah, it is funny how the game has certain trends like that, and certainly that's one that kind of came and went.
Yep.
So the Jags now will start with the ball at the 31-yard line after the punt from the Skeeters. It'll be 1st and 10. Ware still in at the quarterback position. He'll throw a quick pass out to C.J. Jones in the flats. It's a big tight end and a good open field tackle by Jacoby Johnson. Jacoby Johnson does not have the size advantage against C.J. Jones. C.J. Jones, 6'3", 225-pound tight end. And if you're going to tackle someone with that size, you tackle low, right?
Yes, sir. You go right at those ankles is what we used to tell our safeties and corners. Just go right at those ankles, guys.
And I've had the chance to watch C.J. Jones in basketball. We'll talk about that in a moment after this play. Here's where he'll hand the ball off. It's up the middle. This time that's to number 24, I believe, Rodarius Wilson, who's a junior running back for the Jags. But, when Ryan and I broadcast basketball, C.J. Jones is a post player for the Jags. And you don't really realize how big these guys are until you're on the basketball court with them, and you're like, yeah, I would not be able to do anything against him down lows. I mean, he's a really good player and kind of heart and soul of that team, and excited to watch them again here in a couple of months.
Hey, shout out to our basketball teams in this district. They've competed well these last few years. And,
yeah.
I think Mesquite basketball, shout out to Coach Bangs over at Mesquite. I think we're about to have some really good years of basketball. We've got a 6'10 kid, a 6'9 kid, a 6'8 kid. Well, we got some height going into it, and we know that's a great thing to have in basketball.
Yeah, West Mesquite went on a really nice run last year in basketball. That was fun.
Philip Randall
to broadcast that. Poteet had a good run there for a while, and yeah, lots of good basketball. Here's the pass from Ware. That's out to the intended target. He kind of bobbled that. Eventually was able to come down with it. Again, we'll wait to try to get a number on that. There's a lot of players in the area. It looks like it's number 15, Kevin Edwards.
Yep.
The sophomore wide receiver, a name we haven't really called tonight, but gets his first catch. Of course, I'm going to repeat myself here. There's a flag on the play, and that's going to wipe away that catch from Edwards and bring the ball back.
Yeah, I think we had a hold on the edge on that quick throw to him by Furch.
So now Mesquite with 11 penalties and Horn with 10.
Yeah, but the penalties have been very timely issues as well, right? And I think the Skeeters have really hurt themselves with the timely part of their penalties.
So it'll be 2nd and 12 for the Jags. Ware drops back, looks to his left. He'll take a shot down the field. Has C.J. Jones wide open. It's caught at the 50, all the way to the 45, still on his feet to the 40-yard line. And I love the quick decision there by Ware. You wanted to go downfield. There was nothing there. So immediately, just hit your tight end in the flats and let him go to work. Again, Ware making a good decision, and C.J. Jones, 225 pounds, looking pretty good out in the open field with that kind of size.
Yeah, man, we used to say take what the defense gives you, and that's exactly what Ware does. Is the two receivers were covered well, and the tight end's kind of your check-down player, throw it to him and let him go run, and that's what they did and got a first down.
That was Needham on the tackle for the Skiers. It'll be 1st and 10. Dante Ware is going to keep it for himself. He'll get to the outside and pick up 3 or 4 on the play, maybe even 5. Kind of surprised that Ware is still in the game, to be honest with you. It's Jags up 38-7 with 5.5 to go in the game.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't think about that, Matt, but I would almost guarantee if they do score here, or regardless if they score here or not, I think that this is his last series.
Well, and Phil, you know what I've thought about several times tonight? Ryan has broadcast in Horn more than I have, and he's told me, Horn they're 0-3, but doesn't really tell the story of the team they are. They could easily be 2-1, 3-0. I mean, they are a better team than 0-3 indicates, and you're kind of seeing glimpses of that tonight. They have the weapons, they have the potential to be really good. It's just a matter of are the plays going your way or not, and it sounds like in those first 3 games there's just been some plays that just have not gone Horn's way, and that's what's led to the 0-3 start to their season. But tonight, they have looked pretty sharp in almost every facet of the game, and putting up 38 points against the Skeeter defense, certainly proves what they're capable of as they continue to move on in the season. 3rd and 3. There's a quick pass from Ware to the outside to the receiver. That's caught for the first down as he needed to get to about the 31. He gets to the 28 or so, picks up the first down, and that's number 7, Kamara. We've called his name quite a bit tonight, having a good game for Jags on offense.
Well, we talked about Malachi Youngblood being the MVP of the first half, but right now Kamara's been the MVP of the second half and might have been the MVP for the game for them so far. He has been instrumental in the second half and helping the Jags get to a 38-7 lead.
3:50 to go in the game. The Jags up 38-7 over the Skeeters. They hand the ball off, and this time there's 3 or 4 Skeeters in the backfield. The first one there is number 24, Sam Lawrence, the senior defensive lineman, able to make the tackle in the backfield for a loss of 2. And it looks like we have a stoppage in play, or maybe the Jags are just slowing. Yeah, Jags are taking it slow here.
Yeah, they're running it.
I think I'm just so trained to there being a flag that I was just looking for it, but the stoppage was just the Jags letting time come off the clock here. Just over 3 minutes to go in the game. They're in the shotgun. It's a low snap. He does a good job to field it cleanly. Picks up what he can, gets to the outside, crosses the 25, still on his feet to the 20. Eventually forced out of bounds at about the 19-yard line. And Phil, the thing that I love about Dante Ware, it can look like he's going to gain only 2 or 3, and then the speed hits you, and all of a sudden he's got 7 more.
Yeah, when he gets to the sideline, Matt, he's got that ability to really have another gear as a football player to kind of get to the sideline and take it up. And yeah, Ware is a special player for them. He's the guy.
And the clock continues to wind down. Just under 3 minutes to go in the game. Ware will bring C.J. Jones in motion. And looks like the Jags are a little confused on offense, and the coaches just call a timeout to get things cleaned up. So with that timeout, we'll take a little bit of a break too. Our coverage of KUM Sports will We're back here at Memorial Stadium. Matt Cain alongside Phil Elia, Patrick Ross back at Master Control. The Jags have a 38-7 lead over the Skeeters, and they are continuing to march down the field, seeing if they can add to that lead. It's 3rd and 3, the ball at the 18-yard line. Here's Ware. He drops back. He'll take a shot to the end zone. He has a man wide open. That's C.J. Jones. Did he get a foot in bounds? He did. C.J. Jones goes up, high points the ball, comes down, gets a foot in for the touchdown. And C.J. Jones is having a night for the Jags and adds a touchdown to his resume.
Yeah, Skeers complaining they thought C.J. might have pushed off a little bit, but it's not enough for the referee to throw that flag. You just got to go up there and battle with him.
So C.J. Jones now 4 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown for the tight end. And the tight end can be such a weapon in an offense when used effectively, and the Jags have done a nice job tonight using C.J. Jones in that role.
Yeah, you watch a lot of college football, Matt, and in high school, we don't see a lot of tight ends really excel.
Yeah.
It's usually by the time they get to the NFL, they are a big deal, right? Because everybody has a tight end, and you need them for the run game and the pass game.
The extra point is up, and it's good, and that extends the lead for the Jags, 45-7 over the Skeeters. Again, it's homecoming night for the Jags. What a performance they have put on for the crowd. And with that extra point, we are going to take a little bit of a break in our coverage of Mesquite ISD football. for just a moment. We'll be back for some post-game thoughts and our coverage of Mesquite ISD football. We'll continue. So again, that game has concluded. Now the Jags 45-7 victory over the Skeeters on homecoming night. They look really good. Phil, just a couple of thoughts from tonight that you thought allowed the Jags to kind of go up there and be dominant.
Yeah, we just talked about how you and I off air that how they made so many good adjustments in the second half, Horn did, because it really was a close first half, 17-7. The stats were all pointing to a close game. And then coming out of the break, it was all Horn Jaguars making those adjustments they needed to make and executing it and taking a big win over the Skeeters.
And we certainly don't want to let the night go past us without recognizing that this is Coach Vernon Hughes' first victory as the Horn Jags head football coach. So congratulations, Coach Hughes, on that first win and what we hope to be many, many more for Coach Hughes in the future. So we get the celebration from the crowd there on the mic, the band, the crowd that's come out for homecoming night. It's been a good night here at Memorial Stadium. Again, the Jags walk away with a 45-7 lead over the Skeeters. So for Phil Elia, for Patrick Ross back at Master Control, I'm Matt Kane saying so long from Memorial Stadium again, where the Jags have a 45-7 victory